truth once stood, a kingdom of confusion carved out of falsehood. But he walks through the ruins like a prophet reborn. A voice wants to fire, a mind on this door. The chaos watches with an all-seeing glare. Guardian of reason in a world unaware. When the overlord stalls at the edge of the frame, the faithful rise up, they already know his name. I'm here to resurrect the second coming of common sin. I come to wake the sleeping, the church will bring the fed. All slow illusions, no hollow in compare. He's here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Thinking truth from the wreckage, raising dawn from the dead. Every word is a weapon, shot men declare. Exposing every shadow we pretend not to fear. And the overlord rises with the suffering command. A beast of judgment, the mortal chemist dead. On his growl rings through the silence of the night. The loyal understand, trigger keeps the penalties right. I'm here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Begin the chaos of found to pretend.
Welcome back to the party, everybody. That is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who do we got? Shout out to DJ. I'm going to have to call you that within the first, 7 minutes or something? DJ. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also got Lone Wolf and Cub. Shout out to our newest disciple, Nexus Abyss. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, guys. If you have been here for one of the bar fights before, you kind of know what we're getting into. If not, it's a little bit more of a lighthearted debate type of format where Michael Knowles invites two liberals and they have prompts, they debate, the crowd gets involved. It's all good stuff, but they are, I don't know, the Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, whoever it was, decided that we only get 2 out of the 3 prompts on YouTube, and you have to be a member to get the rest of it. And so I decided, let's do our own third prompt. And shout out to Timcast that posted this video. They're talking about gambling. And I'm a little bit split on gambling. I obviously, from my libertarian side, obviously I don't think that it should be illegal just because it can be bad for people. But I mean, there's reports with I think it's like 1 in 3, if not more, Gen Zers do like DraftKings and stuff regularly. So I figured let's pad out the time, if you will, with this debate. And actually, let me put up a poll first. I want to do a poll. Should gambling be legal? Gambling be legal? And then we'll see if anybody changes their mind. Without further ado, as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
I don't agree with the idea that because sometimes people do bad things in excess, we should ban the thing entirely.
Sure.
I have no problem with Polymarket or Kalshi. I think they're great. Like I said,
Remember, he's sponsored by Kalshi, which is another site like Predict It, where you can just bet on anything in the world.
I've got an account on Kalshi. They sponsor the show.
Yep.
And if I think it's fun to make predictions, add a little spice to your sporting event. Look, I bet.
Is there a limiting principle on that?
I have no problem with people drinking beer. I have a problem with alcoholism. And I don't think people should go to prison for having alcoholism. They should get some kind of help. We want to help each other. I got no problem with gambling or prediction markets. I have a problem with gambling addictions, and we should get these people help.
And so right there, that's a fair position to have, to say that, gambling in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with that. It's when people are gambling addicts. Then like that raises the very real question, like, okay, well, how much are you willing to enable the circumstances for more people to get to that level just because, the availability?
Majority of these industry are built off of the backs of these loser addicted males.
It's not true.
Of course it's true.
Completely false.
What part of it?
There is certainly a problem emerging where we have way too many casinos and mobile apps where there are a lot of people now that are gambling that didn't before. But the bulk of people who gamble are not addicts who are losing their life savings. That's actually exceedingly rare. Most people, and you can listen, bro, I spend way too much time playing poker. I know about how these things work. It's extremely easy to get status at a lot of casinos because people don't go to casinos that often. So, for example, I think,
I'm not someone who gambles in general that often. But I like to, roulette is my game. I like to play some roulette. I'll do a little bit of blackjack and stuff. And it definitely, it's definitely not a normal thing that I'm doing throughout my life. It's if I'm around or if I'm meeting up with friends and we happen to go to a casino, but it's not like a regular thing. Shout out to Miguel, said, why are Americans allowing Trump to send their money to for Israel to pay for daily slaughter of innocent civilians while they have a welfare state? Good question. I wish it was just as simple as, well, it's this. But unfortunately, it's a lot more complicated than that. Welcome to the party. Well, so that's not true. I'm a loser and I don't gamble. Everyone who's addicting to gambling is a loser, but not all losers are addicted to gambling.
like the Hard Rock, which is, they're all over the place. There's not that many relative to other, like Penn Play. Penn Entertainment is the second biggest casino chain in the country. It's wild. But
shout out to Ryan asks, how do I find inner peace? You find inner peace by hitting the like button, subscribing, and of course, ringing that bell. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see ya.
Relative to other, like Penn Play. Penn Entertainment is the second biggest casino chain in the country. It's wild. But to get status, like the highest tier, you have to have spent over a year $15,000 at the casino. And don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money.
It's a chunk of change.
But that's the highest, that's their highest member tier outside of their invited tier, which is where you get millionaires and billionaires and stuff. If you want to get general status, the card's free, so we don't count that. But the second tier, it's like, go there for 3 weekends and you're upgraded and getting free food and comps. And that's really easy to do because people actually don't go that often.
I think I should be a little bit more concise. Most of the revenue generated by these gambling companies comes from
addicts.
Lucky you. Lucky you. I started drinking about an hour ago, so I'm already ready to cook.
It's coming from, no, as far as the sports betting apps go, definitely. I've read research into it.
That's incorrect.
As far as I understand,
bro, listen.
Just to make a further point about that, as I understand that is to be the case, but I also think we're dealing in a time of economic stagnation, and young men are already struggling with so many different things. Young men are struggling with drugs. Young men are struggling with women. Young men are struggling to find jobs. And now we're throwing more of these
a cultural problem,
and this is contributing to the.
And this is the argument that I make. I'll back it up for a second. But this was the argument that I made when, who was it? J.S. Urban, when we were debating about prostitution. And if you nail me down to it, I'm certainly not going to die on the hill that prostitution should be legal. But the argument that I presented was that all of these things that we say are bad, when you just ban them, then it doesn't help the cultural issue, and it pushes it underground, exactly as we saw with prohibition. And so the fact that it's bad cannot be the only reason that we make something illegal.
You are discussing,
and now we're throwing more of
these, a cultural problem,
and this is contributing to the cultural problem. But to add on that, now you have a shitty job that you go back home to, and you think, oh man, I barely have any extra money around. Hey, maybe I go bet on Polymarket. Maybe I go bet on Kalshi. Maybe I go bet on the sports game that I think I know better on. And then these young men continue to go further and further into debt. They predominantly
we get it. You're gish galloping.
Men.
We get that you're gish galloping.
I'm not finished.
If you'd like to make a single point that can be addressed instead of saying 50 things that are wrong,
my point is this hurts young men.
Okay, so let me explain to you why you are wrong. Because the majority of money generated is by single-use small bets. People who make sports bets, they're like fantasy leagues and things like that where someone puts $20 down. It would be impossible for a casino to exist if they drained the bank accounts of everybody who showed up and they were all homeless after the fact.
That is a solid point. But I think that's also I don't know what the fallacy is called, but I don't think that Ellie is saying that they literally are emptying their bank accounts, but that people are spending more money than they should be spending on the gambling.
Casino to exist if they drained the bank accounts of everybody who showed up and they were all homeless after the fact.
Don't gamble, says Snowman, but should it be legal? That is the question.
Alcohol. The booze industry is not it's not supported because everyone's addicted to alcohol. It's because people sometimes have some drinks.
It's supported by the alcoholics. The alcohol industry is supported by the alcoholics, not the people who occasionally drink.
If you removed all alcoholics from the market, you would not put a dent in their sales.
You're totally wrong.
Yeah, that's crazy to think that people buying, like shooters of Fireball are holding up, like Johnny Walker Blue. And of course, that's not how it works. Especially when you bring wine and liqueurs and stuff like that. The expensive stuff, it's on most of the time, it's not even for drinking. It's just for status. But to think that the literally homeless alcoholics are the overwhelming majority of alcohol sales, that's just silly. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. Please, indeed, do all of those good things. It is free. It is easy. It helps out the channel so much. It doesn't even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link that you share. Just by you telling the platform you want more people to see it, they will show it to more people. Welcome. We also got No Name for You. Said self-discipline is such a foreign concept to people today. It's the casino's fault. Yep, or it's the government's fault. I can't control my impulses. That's someone else's fault. Obviously. And I don't think that that's necessarily the argument that, like, with, I think Eliand, whatever his name is, I don't think that's specifically the argument that he's making. But that is the mentality that leads to, the government must do this because you as an individual can't have a discipline within yourself. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. Said like and shared again, guys. It does not even matter if you're thinking of going to click on a link. It just matters that you tell YouTube, Twitch, or Rumble, I like this shit. Show it to more people. Welcome. Let's dive right back in. We are, before we get into the bar fight, we are checking out this debate about gambling legalization. Do you think gambling should be legal or illegal?
Alcohol industry is supported by the alcoholics, not the people who occasionally drink.
So the argument that he's making now, because Tim was saying that, in case you missed it, Tim was saying that it's not the degenerate gamblers who are holding up the gambling industry, whereas this guy is trying to say, it's the young kids that are just going broke, and that's the majority of it. And so then he brings it to alcohol and said it's the alcoholics that are spending the most money on alcohol. And so this is where we're jumping in.
Everyone's addicted to alcohol. It's because people sometimes have some drinks.
It's supported by the alcoholics. The alcohol industry is supported by the alcoholics, not the people who occasionally drink.
If you removed all alcoholics from the market, you would not put a dent in their sales.
You're totally wrong. You'd probably remove 80% of the alcohol sales.
Absolutely.
80%? 80%? You think 80% of alcohol sales? Remember, we're talking about wines, bottles of wine that could be thousands of dollars each. We're talking about 30-year-old whiskeys. That's like a $50 pour. But yeah, It's the fireball, and what do they call those the green and red balls, whatever those things. Yeah, that's not holding up the industry, bro.
Well, if you remove the alcoholics
They'd be
from
dead.
alcohol sales,
There's not that many alcoholics, bro.
most of the people drinking most of the alcohol are the alcoholics. It's like a 1%er issue. 1% of the people drinking the alcoholics are consuming like 80% of the alcohol.
Party balls. Yeah, that's not what's holding up the alcohol industry. Turn 3, he said, depends on what you consider an alcoholic. Sure, I think we can. Oh yeah, the buzz ball. The buzz balls. That's what I was thinking of. I do agree that it matters what you consider an alcoholic, but I don't think it matters for this context, because what we are discussing is the fact that being an alcoholic is not a good thing. And so whether you say that drinking this much makes you an alcoholic or drinking that much, the idea that being an alcoholic is bad, but the fact that being an alcoholic is bad doesn't mean that alcohol should be illegal. Similarly, just because gambling can be detrimental to people doesn't mean it should be illegal. And the argument that he's making that is, it's the degenerate gamblers that are holding up the casinos. It's the homeless alcoholics that are holding up the alcohol industry. It's like I was kind of on his side to begin with, but
bro, most of the people drinking most of the alcohol are the alcoholics. It's like a 1%.
It was like a dude. Are you really saying that?
In their all alcoholics from the market, you would not put a dent in their sales.
You're totally wrong. You'd probably remove 80% of the alcohol sales.
Absolutely.
Bro.
If you remove the alcoholics
they'd be
from
dead.
alcohol sales,
there's not that many alcoholics, bro.
most of the people drinking most of the alcohol are the alcoholics. It's like a 1%er issue. 1% of the people drinking the alcoholics are consuming like 80% of the alcohol.
You do understand how ridiculous it is considering how much alcohol is sold every day.
No, I'm totally spot on this.
So
I'm gonna call you Dada. I said, do you understand there's no difference? Alcoholism, gambling, stealing, cheating, and every other of a human can everything else a human can do, because they're all a human. Legal gambling was the worst thing that ever happened. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that it's the worst thing that ever happened. I do think that we have some clear issues with it, but to the argument that we're going to hear, I think that needs to be something that is addressed culturally. We have to be able to have access to things and decide not to do those things. If you don't have access to bad things, then you're not a moral person.
How ridiculous it is considering how much alcohol is sold every day.
No, I'm totally spot on this. So people who are alcoholics are having like 100 drinks, hundreds of drinks a month.
Many of them.
But they're drinking most of the alcohol.
No, they're not.
Okay, so let's see. No Name Googled it. Said 10% of the top drinkers consume 60% of the alcohol sold. U.S. top. So what does that? Okay, so then how do we break down the top 10%? Because the way that I would think is that I would likely be in the top 10%. Every time you guys see me, I'm drinking. But like, I have two seltzers through a whole show. And so I'm buying a significant amount. But I certainly don't consider myself an alcoholic. I mean, I was at one time. But that's really where we have to parse. So what are they determining as the top 10%? How much of drinking do you have to do to be in the top 10%? Liberty Plus TV, welcome. So how many people who are so addicted they would die without it are not buying the most of the alcohol? Yeah. I'm functioning in some ways better than others, but yeah, I agree. I think that's a silly way to put it.
And
hundreds of drinks a month.
Many of them.
But they're drinking most of the alcohol.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
So I spend a lot of time playing poker. Poker rooms are very different from casino floors. Always different people. There's a handful of regulars at a lot of these places. And this is why, Elad, casinos have venues.
Elad?
Because most of the people who show up come for a show and then never come back. That's why casinos have venues. That's why Stake
makes sense.
Or was it? Is Stake Kick? I think
Stake is the gambling. I think Kick is streaming,
and Kick is the venue to attract people to come to their online casino. Casinos don't have regulars who pay their bills, so they have to bring in at a loss shows. There are people who go to Charlestown and they'll sell 1,000 tickets and they'll get paid $30,000. And I'm like, whoa, now come on there a minute. That people who shut up aren't spending that much for some of these tickets.
Yep.
It's for them to pay the artist, pay the staff, the booking, the space. The casinos book these things at a loss because bringing in 1,000 people to a venue means they're going to spend $50 on drinks, maybe $100 on slots, and then leave.
But especially if you're talking Vegas, like, I mean, a local band is, that means something different to somebody outside of the Nevada, Las Vegas area. And so that doesn't mean that just because they're local bands doesn't mean that that's not the attraction that people are going for. The argument that Tim is making is that the venues outside, whether the hotel, the anything else outside of the casino, that's why people are where the casino is for the other thing. Not necessarily because it's some, amazing show, but a local band would be a reason that somebody's at the casino other than specifically saying, I want to go gamble. That's the argument that's being made. Shout out to Hector. Welcome to the party. Should opponents bickering without presenting solutions be legal? Unfortunately, yes. Welcome.
They're going to spend $50 on drinks, maybe $100 on slots, and then leave. I have absolutely no problem.
Okay, but do you disagree with the notion that people are typically at a casino for something other than gambling?
With people having fun. The idea that the problem we're facing is, I do agree that the ubiquity and access to something does create the ease of access to it makes it. Well, I guess the simple way to put it is, the more casinos there are, the easier for addicts and degenerates to get caught up in it. Agreed. But the problem we have in this country.
All right, but again, that goes back to what is the 10% actually made up of? Because if you think about it, there's going to be a big difference in like the worst of the worst alcoholics. That's going to be up here. But if we think about like all just everybody, then it's not unreasonable to think that within that 10% is, again, somebody who has a drink every day. And so they're not getting wasted every day, but they drink every day. That might be, or let's say they have 3. That's probably up there. So if you can find what the 10% is made up of, then that will clear it up definitively. Because if we're saying that the top 10% of drinkers are people who have 3 or more drinks 3 days a week, that's not that's not alcoholism as we're talking about it. So really, really depends. Depends on the person. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's people who are addicted to gambling. That's not the question. We're talking about the industry and what cut of the industry is coming from people just doing it here and there versus people who are addicted.
Degenerates to get caught up in it. Agreed. But the problem we have in this country is cultural, and we have parents who are not raising their kids well. We have economic systems which have incentivized mothers to get jobs instead of raising their kids. So the kids go to schools where they're indoctrinated by leftist teachers.
Yeah, nobody's saying it's not an addiction. I don't know if that's not the question. Of course, an addiction is an addiction. Alcoholism is an addiction. A gambling addiction is an addiction. That's not what we're asking. We're asking is the top 10% of people who engage in this activity, what does that actually break down to? That's the question.
Jobs instead of raising their kids. So the kids go to schools where they're indoctrinated by leftist teachers. This is creating cultural issues that did not exist before. It is resulting in the expansion of degeneracy. The availability of marijuana is not the problem. The availability of alcohol is not the problem. The availability of gambling is not the problem. And I'll put it like this. First, I will say, don't anyone dare come to me and say that we should ban all these things. I had all the access in the world as a teenager to drinking, to smoking, to, playing street craps, whatever you want to do with the gangbangers.
Yeah, we used to play dollar hands of poker in study hall. And, you get your, we play Texas Hold'em. You get dealt your cards. You're either in or you're out. And if you're in, it's for $1. And then they go through the whole, what do they call it? The boat, the river, and all that. Flip over all the cards, and whoever wins.
I mean, playing street craps, whatever you want to do with the gangbangers. I also had good parents, so I never did any of those things. As a teenager, I tried pot once. I didn't really like it. When I was late, like 19 to 20, I drank on the weekends quite a bit with my friends. And then after about 2 years, I was like, this sucks. I don't want to drink anymore. I don't really enjoy it. I don't need this. Some people just get drunk and they don't stop. But when you have good parents and they raise you right, they teach you right, you don't experience this to this extreme degree.
No, I mean, no shit. I mean, all of my addiction issues have nothing directly to do with my parents. So
there can be a casino in every single street corner, and a devout, faithful, moralistic country would run them out of business. They could not exist. Now, what we have is there are a lot of people that are okay with gambling now, and so New York and Chicago are opening big casinos, and I have no problem with a city having a casino. I do think there is an issue that I talk about all the time. Within 2 hours of us, I think there's like 10 casinos. Like, that's wild. But again, a guy who gets off of work on a Friday and he worked 40 hours, his hands are calloused, and he says, I just want to watch a game with my friends. I want to put $20 down.
That's the other side of it too. You know, I No Name's talking about the regulars in the casino, but now with the decentralization, the casino is probably the least where the least money is coming from.
A little excitement from the game with a smile on my face and make jokes. And if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. That's the average person. Sometimes people are addicted, and that is a problem. But we're not. I don't think it makes sense to ban something simply because some people abuse it.
So as far as access goes, do you have any issue with people having, in any state being able to access any of these sports betting apps or a casino, online casino on their phone?
I have no problem whatsoever with people being able to access the mobile apps, but I do understand an ease of access will increase per capita the amount of people who will be addicted or
right. And so the question is, where's the balance of, okay, we're making this easy so people are have access, and the more access, you're going to have more addicts. What is the balance of how easy it should be to access this stuff? There's Tim moved where there's a bunch of casinos and then complains about casinos. What a Karen. I mean, I think he's doing the opposite. I think I always say his name wrong. Is it Elliot, whatever. I think the other dude is making the argument that that the gambling is bad. Tim's saying I'm good with it.
Will increase per capita the amount of people who will be addicted or see those problems, because a state that never, like Texas, has no gambling, right? They only have private gambling, like poker rooms. So there are people who just can't do it.
It's like, does supply drive demand, or does the demand drive supply? And does this help make it become a part of the culture?
Neither.
I mean, I think
talking about a cultural phenomenon.
No, but the supply of the ability to, like, these casinos and these different apps to gamble on, I think this helps push the demand for more of it.
I think it is like the amount of.
But I agree with you that, like, culturally, and if you were raised right, and if you're a good, religious, sane, sober, moral person, then yeah, you probably wouldn't gamble, and that's a.
But people don't. You can't just dictate that people be that way. Life's a little bit more complicated than that. Shout out to Equality and Deference because vagina over on Rumble. Welcome. Said, liked and shared again. Thank you so very, very much. Again, guys, it is free. It is easy. If you're on your phone, or if you're on vertical, just double tap the screen and give that a share. Doesn't really matter if anybody's going to click on it. You are helping out the channel. Thank you, and welcome to the party.
Good thing. And we should encourage that.
When you go to
mostly not
most casinos, if you're going to find a regular, they're in the poker room. And that's because you can sit in a poker room for 12 hours and not.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that he's acknowledging that with increased access, there will be increased addiction. He is saying that is something that happens, but he's okay with that.
Spend any money at all. And so a lot of these guys are just hanging out. You do get, everybody calls each other degenerates and things like that. But typically, if you're in a place and you see someone it's a poker player. Some casinos.
Oh, what was the one I just saw? They just put it on Netflix. I think it's a little bit older. Not a little bit older like that, but like not brand new. Ryan Reynolds, Mississippi Grind. That's a good gambling / con man type movie.
No one's regularly playing craps for the most part. That's exceedingly rare. People who go to casinos go one time every few months and they bet a few $100 and they leave. That's the average person. That's where they're making their money. This is why casinos have hotels. This is why they have venues. This is why they do promotions. And this is why they send you emails incessantly. Because if it were true that most of the money they made was from degenerates who lose all their money, they wouldn't advertise at all. They would just have people coming and dumping their paychecks.
I think we need to do negative PR against things like online gambling. I think we need to start calling it.
I think that's a
boy
cop
games. Boy games. You don't want to.
Why is it a cop out? Why is it a cop out? If we agree that this is a vice, and so saying a vice means this is something that should be allowed but can go too far. If it's a vice, and we agree that it's a vice, but it shouldn't be illegal, then why would we not? And Tim is saying it's a cultural issue. Why would you not want to mitigate it with the culture? That doesn't make sense. Shout out to Manatron. Welcome. So I do think sports gambling should be banned. It's ruined the integrity of a lot of sports. Yeah, I don't really watch sports like that, but I've definitely seen in the last few years people talking about the rate at which people are talking about, oh, this is rigged, this is, WWE stuff. I've seen a lot more. And to think in these days, in 2026, to think that a company as big as the NFL or whatever wouldn't, wouldn't smudge things a little bit. I mean, of course.
Go play those games, Phil. Sir, you don't want to go to those Goy game casinos. No. All those Jews are stealing your money at the casinos. Do you really want to go to play those Goy games in those Jewish casinos where they're stealing all your money? Do you guys really want to log on to those?
We get it, Elad. The problem that I see with your logic is that this is what has led conservatives to failure over the past 20 or 30 years. Instead of addressing the issue of what children were being given, they said, just take the thing away as adults. And that didn't work. Marijuana is legal because the country accepted it, even though many conservatives don't like it.
Yep. And yeah, that was one sport, the one sport I was really into for a while. And like right around COVID, when we were getting all that COVID money, I was like, all right, well, what do I do with this? This was around the time when I finally got a good understanding of the notion that if, you just have money sitting in a savings account, then, it's just evaporating. And I mean, like I knew how money worked, but no one ever put it to me that clearly. So I was like, oh shit, I got, not a bunch of savings, but I don't want my savings to just evaporate. And so I was between getting into sports betting and betting on the UFC or buying Bitcoin. Thank goodness I bought Bitcoin because yikes. Quality said, but why use culture where you can just have the government stop people? Well, that's kind of what I'm confused about what Tim's about to say here, because his whole thing is, well, this is a cultural issue, and if we don't want gambling addiction, then we shouldn't be just looking to daddy government. But he's also saying it shouldn't be a cultural thing. So what are we talking about, Willis?
Children were being given. They said, just take the thing away as adults. And that didn't work. Marijuana is legal because the country accepted it, even though many conservatives don't like it. Because instead of going to kids and strengthening their familial values, they had DARE programs, which actually made everything worse. Bro, when I was in public school as a kid,
did you guys have put one in the chat if you had DARE in your schools? I'm 36. I think most of you are a little bit older, but put a one in the chat if you had DARE in school.
And the cop comes in and he goes, I'm going to teach you about drugs. And then he showed all the kids the drugs. You know what the kids did? I'm going to get me some of that.
They made it cool. They made it alluring.
They made it punk rock. They made it edgy. They made it anti-authoritarian. And guess what? I never did any of this stuff. I never done a hard drug in my life. The most I've ever done is I smoked pot one time with my buddies when I was 16. I think I was 15 or 16 in his backyard. And they're like, Tim, try the pot. And I was like, sure, why not? I'm like, that sucked. And I don't like it. I never smoked it. I never tried it again.
Maybe sometimes I wish we were a Christian nation, because a Christian nation would definitely outlaw gambling.
You don't need to outlaw it.
I can tell you one easy way I think that everyone could get behind that.
Shout out to Super Dads. And how long did it take you to get to 5K subs? I started, it's about four and a half years, I think. 4.5 years. Live streaming is a little bit different than the regular videos, and I don't really cover news like that. More of a cultural thing. So almost, I think over 4 years. Welcome.
I can tell you one easy way I think that everyone could get behind that a lot of people aren't talking about to fix the gambling situation, especially sports betting. So I discovered this with our group of friends. I mentioned this earlier. We had a whole strategy. It wasn't even gambling. It was investing. We've all been throttled or kicked off of several books.
It's not a gamble. It's an investment. Those are dangerous words.
I'm throttled off of DraftKings. I'm banned off of Bet365.
What? Why?
You're not allowed to be an
Because
advantage player.
You're not allowed to win on these sports books. If you start winning, they say, okay, that bet's too big. The most you can bet is $5.14.
That's haram. That's haram.
So I think they're obviously kicking players like us off that are good and are actually doing what you can do now in Kalshi. I think if you eliminated that and say basically, hey, is this not deceptive advertising? Is this not fault? Like, you're advertising that everyone can be a winner. Not everyone can be a winner because you kick them off when they win. I love Kalshi.
Well, everyone can be a winner, but just maybe not as much of a winner as you want to be.
No, I love Kalshi, but
they're basically just saying you're buying and trading contracts amongst each other. Again, the issue is, I'm a fan of this, and as you can see, I have $313.96 in my account. That's a lot for me, and I it's for fun. I put $100 on the Seahawks to win, and I won $50 or something. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And if I lost the $50, I'd be like, I lost $50. You know what I mean? Like, hey.
All right, so I mean, you guys get the point that before we dive into our main show, interesting points of view that as someone who doesn't really participate in that stuff, I didn't really know. Quality said, I was homeschooled. Lucky you. Lucky you. Take your kids out of public schools. Nothing comment said, even trading stocks is just gambling unless you have insider information. True, but not in the same, like, to such a different degree that that's not really the same thing. At least, especially if you're, going blue chip stocks, the S&P, that's not, technically it is, but it's not the same thing as fucking putting 50 grand on red. But all right. So I just want to pop that in, and since they cut off the last prompt from this one, I figure we'll add a little extra for you. So let's dive in to Bar Fight.
Stop. That the federal government is lying to you like this.
Did we say military-run camps?
Military camps force people to be straight. I like that. That's a strong idea.
I want to know why you expect to be taken seriously in a political debate when you showed up to the debate in a political...
It's called Bar Fight. Well...
Actually, I'm going to wait to see if you guys say it.
Welcome to Bar Fight. I'm Michael Knowles. I'm joined tonight by two guests. Co-founder of White Dudes for Harris. Senior advisor to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, Mike Nellis. They've lied.
Damn, I didn't know he was like that. This is the White Dude for Harris. The White Dude for Harris. We had Harry Sisson on, and what was the other dude? Chris Mowry the last time? They were the foot soldiers of White Dudes for Harris. But this guy, he's the big daddy.
We should take nothing that this administration says at face value. And now our next guest.
Hey, shout out to Bacon Blitz. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I was hopped on a little panel the other night, last night. Well, I was out of it, but yeah, glad to see you guys doing your own thing. And definitely hit me up. And I'm always down to hang out. Welcome to the party. Yes, but they're gonna get destroyed. Well, I think. I assume. I don't know, but I think.
Mike Nellis. They've lied. We should take nothing that this administration says at face value. And now our next guest. He's a liberal content creator who spends most of his time complaining about the Democrat Party, which is something that he and I actually have in common. That is Michael DeFeo. Here is how the show works. We will be debating three of the most controversial topics of our day. The bell rings, we duke it out for that round, and then our friends in the crowd can come up to the microphones and pick a fight with any of us. And anyone who comes up to the mic can win special prizes and a seat at our VIP section, sponsored by Redneck Riviera Whiskey. Mike, are you ready to begin? Michael.
The three Michaels bar fights.
Oh, am I ready? I am ready to begin. It's round one.
Let's go.
I love this. Now, Mike, you kick us off. What is your topic?
My topic is Alex Pretti's death proves Trump hates the Second Amendment.
All right, make your case.
All right.
If you don't think that you can assault police officers with a gun, you're anti-2A.
Stupid. So to the crowd for a moment, raise your hand if you ever heard of the siege of Waco, Texas. Few people, right?
Did somebody woo that?
We're off to a weird
I don't know
start.
what side they're on.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Well, just anti-ATF. That's what the woo is.
So after the siege of Waco, Texas, there was a massive increase in sponsorship and membership of militias and paramilitary groups here in the United States. It skyrocketed after 1993. through 2000, and then skyrocketed again in 2009 through 2012.
Shout out to Marilyn God herself in the building. Welcome to the
I know what happened in
party.
those 4 years. So during that time, people began to be concerned about American military operations here on our own soil in something called Jade Helm 15, where Obama was using special forces to do training in Texas. Governor Abbott said that he was mobilizing the National Guard to defend the Second Amendment, property rights, and civil rights of Texans. They made it a whole thing on Fox News. They called it the Texas takeover, as if we need to take over Texas. It's already part of the United States. And Alex Jones made it as mainstream as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Because the United States was under siege from its military and its government who was going to take away its Second Amendment rights. Wayne LaPierre made jackbooted thugs a popular term with the NRA for years about masked agents of the state coming to take away your Second Amendment rights.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, as they're talking about all this stuff. The NRA. I'm curious how you guys feel about the NRA. So I'm going to put up a poll. Remember, the good polls are always going to be on the landscape stream. Guys, if you are on vertical, I will always pin the link to the regular landscape stream to the top of the chat. Either one you like is good for me. But when I say I'm putting up a poll, that means the landscape.
About masked agents of the state coming to take away your Second Amendment rights. Alex Pretti was exercising his Second Amendment right in Minneapolis with a registered firearm, a concealed carry permit. He never unholstered
That he left it at home.
the weapon, and he was still killed by masked agents of the state.
Why? Just cause they felt like it?
My question is this not the exact nightmare that Alex Jones pushed, that the NRA pushed for decades on us? Now, Alex Jones has said that his death was not a horrible accident that deserves investigation. He said he deserves it. Donald Trump said that you should not and cannot have guns in protests. You cannot have guns around federal agents. Even the DC attorney said you cannot have firearms in Washington, DC.
A lot of those statements were very janky. They were really janky. I don't like what Kristi Noem said. I don't like what Trump said about it. But and I mean, Alex Jones here or there. But I definitely don't believe. Don't believe he deserved to die. If you haven't heard it before, I'm gonna nail it into your heads. The idea of saying that this was a justified shot does not mean, whether it's this or Renee Good, does not mean that you're saying this person deserved to die. You must say this person deserved to die in order to mean that. Just saying that it is a legal shot only means that according to the laws, this is how it is adjudicated. Not that it was good, not that it was bad, not that it made me happy, not that it made me sad. Just this is what the law says.
The DC attorney said you cannot have firearms in Washington, DC, legal or illegal. So my question is, how is it possible that Donald Trump is the most pro-Second Amendment president in history when the exact right-wing fever dream that we were fed for 25 years
See, I think it was a very bad legal shot.
has come to fruition under his presidency? And he is the one who has the words coming out of his mouth saying you cannot legally carry a firearm around federal agents.
Yeah. Disavow. Marilyn, are you here? Disavow. You absolutely can have guns around federal agents. Just not when you're obstructing their operations.
If that came out of Barack Obama's mouth, y'all got very mad with the tan suit. Imagine how you would react to those kinds of words.
I thought the tan suit was fashionable. I'll take that in order. So you claim that Alex Pretti's killing would prove that Donald Trump hates the Second Amendment. Now, it's worth pointing out that Trump said that he objects to the killing of Alex Pretti. He was sad to see it.
Sure.
Some of us think it was totally justifiable. It's always kind of sad, but
Yeah, but I'll go with the white dudes for Harris on this. Like, he's like, yeah, it's a bad thing, but he deserved it, and I don't like deserve is a bad optically a bad word for this, and it puts people in the wrong mindset. That we're not saying that this is more of what we want. It's just, I forgot to fucking say it. It doesn't mean that, what you're saying is a legal shot. It doesn't mean you think they deserve to die. It's the same thing as saying if you go hiking, one of the things that might happen is that you break your ankle. So if you go hiking and you break your ankle, nobody is going to be like, so you think anybody who goes hiking deserves to have their ankle broken? No, but that is one of the things that can happen when you engage in that activity. So when you engage in the activity, of obstructing federal law enforcement while you are armed, yes, that is a thing that can happen. Doesn't mean it's good. That's just how life works.
He was sad to see it.
Sure.
Some of us think it was totally justifiable. It's always kind of sad, but I'm not losing sleep over it.
I'm sorry,
But
is this the same Donald Trump who said that he's an assassin?
Yeah, right. Was that ever his thing? Like, the New York Democrat, was that ever something that Trump was like popular for? Didn't he have the whole bump stocks thing? He's never been great on 2A, but this I don't know. This is a weird prompt.
kind of sad, but I'm not losing sleep over it.
I'm sorry,
But
is this the same Donald Trump who said that he's an assassin?
no,
His
Trump
ministry-
No, he was resisting when they shot him legally. So he was obstructing, and then he was going to get arrested, and then he resisted, which is why he got killed. Kyle Ritter said he was dumb to bring a gun to a protest and get in cops' face. So stupid. Yeah. That, I mean, again, doesn't mean I'm happy that it happened. But these are the laws. This is how it works.
Well,
Trump didn't say that. Trump said he was sad about it. Some members of his
J.D.
administration.
Vance has called him an
But we're talking
assassin.
about Trump. So Trump says he was sad to see it. He didn't want it to happen. So right off the bat, it would be hard to arrive at the conclusion from that Trump hates the Second Amendment because he didn't justify the killing of Alex Pretti, though I would do so. Furthermore, though, on the point of the Second Amendment, specifically with Trump, not Alex Jones, not Waco, Texas, not the 90s, Donald Trump, I think we would all have to agree to a handful of facts. One, Donald Trump, in his second term, rescinded some of the ATF regulations that Joe Biden had put on the gun stores. So that's very pro-Second Amendment. Trump took us out of the gun-grabbing UN arms trade treaty, very pro-Second Amendment. President Trump has, broadly speaking, supported our traditional constitutional rights, albeit...
Broadly speaking, with a few caveats.
No, I'm giving you...
So so you're allowed to resist arrest if you don't have a gun? Is that is that what you're saying here? The law is that you can legally resist arrest as long as you don't have a gun. Because that's the only relevance to him being disarmed. Once it all starts, we're in it. Next is Abyss said, all I'm going to say about it is nobody protested during Deport Obama's 2 terms. He created the holding centers and used the exact same tactics to arrest illegals. I'm not saying that people should die, but come on, the only reason people are protesting is because it's Trump.
Bingo.
And I mean, it's not even it's deeper than that, because you don't see these protests all around. You see them in a very small area where it just so happened that there was a crazy amount of fraud exposed. Coincidence? I think not. Guys, don't forget about Morty over here. He's gone to sleep. Well, now he wakes up because I'm yelling, but feed the puppy 99 cents. We'll get him a treat. Let's get this started.
Supported our traditional constitutional rights, albeit...
Broadly speaking, with a few caveats.
No, I'm giving...
Okay, where's this law? Cite that law. Cite the law that you can't use deadly force if the threat has been removed.
Giving you specific examples of this, but broadly speaking, he's been consistent for 10 years on the Second Amendment. On a few things, he's backed off it, like he banned bump stock. Some of the Second Amendment guys don't love that, but most of the liberals were totally fine with it. In any case, we've always had circumscription. We've always had some limits on the Second Amendment. The question here, since you bring up Alex Pretti, is, was the killing of Alex Pretti justified? Whether or not he
That's
had a
not
gun.
the question we're asking. The question is whether or not his killing and the reaction to it from Donald Trump. She did say he was sad about it, but that doesn't mean that he supports the Second Amendment around federal officers, because he has said he does not want people having guns around federal officers. It's a very different question than, am I upset that a man was killed?
Okay, fair. If he said that, I don't remember the exact words, but Trump and Christian both fucked up the statements. But let's go. It's Trump. So if we nail him down, you said that nobody should have guns around federal agents. Do you mean that? What do we think he would say? Well, of course, yeah. If there's federal agents anywhere, throw your guns away. That's not what he's gonna say. Come on.
I think it's entirely reasonable to be empathetic to someone being killed like that. But do you support the Second Amendment, or do you not in all circumstances when you call yourself the most pro-Second Amendment president in history.
Yeah, but I guess in some of the examples I've just cited, President Trump overwhelmingly has a pro-Second Amendment policy agenda, albeit with some caveats like the bump stocks and the tightening up the background checks.
And no guns around federal officers at protests.
Well, that was a point.
That's not a policy, though. That's my point. My point is, yes, that's a bad line, and I would love I mean, hey, if he does actually mean that, then I will disavow that as well. But I don't think that's what he meant.
Point he made, which is a prudential point, and I think this is the key here, because if we say that Alex Pretti was carrying a weapon and therefore an officer shooting him is a violation of his Second Amendment rights, I think that
I know, right? So if you could just tell me the law, then that it's okay to resist arrest as long as you don't have a gun, then you'll really help me out. I'm just going by Graham v. Connor in 1989. Has that been overturned? Or I'm confused. So I'll Google it right now. What is the law that you're referring to that says if you're not resisting arrest, or rather, if you are resisting arrest, but you don't have a gun, it's okay?
Mentally misunderstands what's going on. Alex,
I'm literally repeating your words back to you.
Had a concealed carry permit. That's right. His parents told CBS News that he never actually used it. He never carried the weapon until recently.
I wonder why.
Why did he bring it? Why did he bring a gun that was fully loaded with two magazines to obstruct law enforcement?
That he never unholstered.
Yeah.
I don't know that. So you can correct me. I'm sorry if I'm misrepresenting what you're saying. Let's go back to what you're saying. You cannot use deadly force if there's no threat. Okay, so fine, if there's no threat. How did we know that there was no threat? You and I saw on the video that the homeboy took disarmed him. Nobody's arguing that. You and I saw. How did the other cops who actually shot, how did they know that there was no threat? I'm genuinely not trying to be disingenuous, so I got the word wrong. But okay, so if there's absolutely no threat, you should not be able to use deadly force. Fair, agreed. Then that gets us to the point of, okay, they must know in that moment, according to Graham v. Connor, that there is no threat. How did the cops there know that there was no threat? Right. So it must be a step, because somebody said gun, gun, gun. So there was a threat in the minds of the officers at that time. You are telling me that they disarmed him. I agree, because I saw it on the video. The question is, how did the cops know that the threat was gone? Did somebody say clear? Did somebody say we checked him and he doesn't have any other weapons? Did they look in his sock and saw that there was no knife or something? My question to you is, how did those officers determine that the threat had been gone? Because again, Graham v. Connor. Do we need to pull it up? Let's pull up Graham v. Connor. Grandma. Graham v. Connor. So, just give me the fucking thing. Well, I don't know why it's not an official thing, but okay. Oh my God. What the fuck? Okay. So, Graham v. Connor. We're going to get the 3 points here. Okay, all claims that law enforcement officials have used are no. Okay, so objectionable reasonableness. The notion that all excessive force brought under, where are the 3 parameters? Is it in here? I don't know, but just so do you think I'm not bullshitting, I will post this link in the chat so you can go and peruse that and see if it doesn't map onto what this is saying right here. Graham v. Connor established that police use of force must be judged by the Fourth Amendment objective and its objective reasonableness standard, meaning it's assessed from a reasonable officer's perspective at the scene, not with hindsight, considering the severity of the crime, whether the suspect possesses an immediate threat, and if they are actively resisting or fleeing. And so you are addressing that he's been disarmed so that he is no longer an immediate threat. This must be something that the officers learn after they hear gun, gun, gun. The fact that he was disarmed does not change anything in the laws of the eye of the law for the other officers. So did I miss it? They watched him being disarmed. Oh man, so we really got to do this. All right. Well, actually, let's do this. This is a side quest. I should have been done this side quest. I don't know exactly. So, actually, I'll play this. I'll come back when I find it.
I wonder why.
Right. Why did he bring it? Why did he bring a gun that was fully loaded with 2 magazines to obstruct law enforcement?
That he never unholstered.
Yeah, wait. I want to jump in here for a second because let's define the facts of the video and the facts of the case of the murder. And I believe it's a murder of Alex Pretti. Okay, standing on the sidewalk, goes to help a woman who got pushed down by an ICE agent. Doesn't brandish the weapon, doesn't touch it, doesn't use it in any.
Okay, all right, real quick. So now let's go back to our side quest.
This is a test of selective attention.
Hold on.
Count how many times the player's wearing white and...
Okay. So
This-
not sped up. We're not speeding it up. All right? We're not speeding it up. This is based on the notion that Nothing Comment said they watched him be disarmed. Right? They watched him be disarmed.
is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the player's wearing
If
white
anybody
past
spoils
the
this,
basketball.
if you know, you're banned. So again, count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many players wearing white pass the basketball? I purposely didn't say anything during that. So, how many passes did you count?
How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
Same video we just watched. I don't know the exact numbers, but a significant amount of people just have no
This video
idea.
is from research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris and is copyrighted.
How many of you saw it? Unless you've seen it before, then you didn't see it. And the point is that the fact that something is in your field of vision doesn't mean that you can see something. We are very familiar with tunnel vision and all these types of things. So that's just not a legal standard. Again, if I'm wrong, you can give me the law. But you haven't done that.
Of the video and the facts of the case of the murder, and I believe it's a murder of Alex Pretti. Okay, standing on the sidewalk, goes to help a woman who got pushed down by an ICE agent, doesn't brandish the weapon, doesn't touch it, doesn't use it in any meaningful way. He gets thrown to the ground.
That part's debatable.
No, that part is not debatable. Go watch the video.
There are
okay?
questions on the video.
There are no
There's going to be an
questions.
investigation,
I mean,
but it's unclear whether
Yeah,
or not
I'm
there's
sure
an
this administration is going to lead with quite the investigation. Jesus. Sorry, the chairs came out a little bit for me. Look, he was dragged to the ground.
Oh, is this the law where I'm going to be made correct now? Title 18, USC subsection 111. It is a crime to assault, resist, oppose, impede, intimidate, or interfere with federal officers or employees performing their official duties. Oh, wait. I thought this was going to be you're allowed to resist arrest if you are not a threat. All right. They have to identify a threat before they shoot. Yeah, they were like, gun, gun, gun. That's identifying a threat. Now, again, we all saw that one of the officers took the gun off Pretti. But the fact of the matter is, and the way that the law works, is that they have to be aware of that. We have no reason to think that they're all over here. Homeboy's running back there, doesn't say anything. Doesn't even know that the gun is gone. And even if they did, still have not established that he does not have another gun or a knife or a fucking needle that he could stick them with. Whether you want to believe the Ilhan Omar thing or not, people are using needles and shit now. So the entire point is that you are establishing that he was not a threat based on different criteria than the law dictates. You're not allowed to use hindsight, and you're not allowed to base it on a freeze frame of something that you saw in the frame.
Sorry, the chairs gave out a little bit for me. Look, he was dragged to the ground, beaten by like 8 ICE agents, shot in the back 3 times. They had already taken his gun at the time that they shot.
But the question,
no. Just let me finish my point, because there's no reason for him to be dead right now. There's none. And then the reaction from the right.
I do. I hope it's, more of a voting type of consequences, but we'll see.
Is that, he died because he brought a gun to a rally.
No.
By the way, it wasn't even a protest. He was standing on the sidewalk.
That's not really the reaction as a card-carrying member of the right. The question is, was the officer justified in shooting Alex Pretti? And so then the question there would become, what would be the cause of that? The cause would be, according to federal law, the imminent threat of bodily harm to the officers or to anyone around him. What would a reasonable officer have perceived that when a guy shows up to obstruct law enforcement to commit a crime?
He did not
with
do
a
that,
loaded
though.
gun.
That's not true.
He was already
hold on.
Let me just
finish the.
Yeah, we are 60-40 on the poll, guys. The NRA is a positive force in the USA. Agree or disagree?
Since we're
He
establishing
was
facts.
beaten. Because you're not establishing the facts. He was beaten on the ground. They taken his gun. They shot him 3 times in the back.
But you're only beginning from when he's on the ground. 11 days earlier, he'd assaulted.
11 days earlier is irrelevant.
So again, correct. They're all named Michael. So I'm just going to call him, I'm going to call Michael Knowles Michael. I'm going to call and then Green and Black. So Green is actually right here. The fact that Pretti was on video kicking and spitting is irrelevant to whether or not it was a good shot.
In the back.
But you're only beginning from when he's on the ground. 11 days earlier, he'd assaulted.
11 days earlier is irrelevant to what happened.
He'd
The only
assaulted
thing
a law
that matters is
enforcement
what
vehicle.
happened when they murdered him.
You can try to filibuster, but we
I'm
have
not
to establish the facts. You are filibustering.
You're just making shit up, Michael.
Guys, if we're going to establish the facts, 11 days.
I'm being deliberately honest. If you want to call out something that I got inadvertently wrong, like you did before, I will correct myself like I did before. But you just don't like that I'm pulling out these laws and it doesn't match with your feelings. That you feel like he was disarmed, therefore. That's not how the law works. I wish Alex Pretti was still alive. I don't want people dying. That's not how the law works. It said Bill Gates was the Democrats' biggest donor and was in the Epstein Files for disgusting stuff. Yep, there's going to be a lot, and do not expect that it's only going to be the left. Just saying.
I'll just finish this establishment, then we can talk about it in the comments. 11 days prior, he had assaulted a law enforcement vehicle while obstructing ICE. He then showed up again to obstruct law enforcement. He had a loaded gun with 2 full magazines, and a reasonable officer.
He's correct. All of that is completely irrelevant.
A reasonable officer, while he is committing a crime, certainly could believe that he was an imminent threat.
That part is correct. But all the other stuff, even if it's true, and in terms of the public opinion of should this person have met this fate or whatever, not do they deserve to die? That is important information. But as far as the shot, it's in the moment. Shout out to Dylan Sue. Welcome to the party side.
While he is committing a crime, certainly could believe that he was an imminent threat.
Can I give you my last point?
Yeah. Since all of that can be debated, but my point
that part can't be debated.
My point that Donald Trump is anti-Second Amendment because of this event. Americans should not face death at the hands of the state for just carrying a registered firearm.
Agreed. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Nobody disagrees with that. And that's, I think, another glaring example of how the left just has no fucking clue what the right wing's positions are. I certainly didn't when I was, a never Trumper and all those stuff. It's like they think that because you're pro 2A, that you're just pro, just shooting guns and shooting people all the time. Yeah, that's what 2A is about. No. It's a lot more complicated than that. And so when you see the nuance, you're like, oh, you're flip-flopping. You're not 100% pro-gun because the gun, it's just first-order thinking. First-order thinking. Yet again.
Face death at the hands of the state for just carrying a registered firearm.
What about carrying a registered firearm and obstructing law enforcement?
That is not a death sentence.
What if you pose a threat to officers?
He did not.
He
He
did
was
not.
already on the ground.
He was not even obstructing.
I don't
in
think
that,
it's. I don't think it's reasonable to shoot that man.
Is there any evidence that Alex Pretti would assault law enforcement? There is. He had done it 11 days prior.
Shout out to Fugitive Iowa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Said new to the stream. First time commenting. Let me and my friend love your stream. Can you please shout out her name? Is Candace. Candace, shout out and dilly to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party.
Is there any evidence that Alex Pretti would assault law enforcement? There is. He had done it 11 days prior.
he kicked a car 11 days prior. Like, really? Like, come on.
Questions?
Outside of Twitter, this is an 80-20 issue. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, not in your favor, bro.
I have a question for Mike number 3. On the right,
any of us.
It's the one on the way right. On the right, people believe that Kyle Rittenhouse, like, he had a right to carry the gun to that protest, but I think we all can agree that that was unwise because of what happened. How is what Alex?
Reason. You see the clown emojis and the laughing emojis?
Pretti did any different?
I think under the law, he did have the right to carry that gun. What he did with it was what I take objection to.
Sorry, I missed that.
Because of what happened. How is what Alex Pretti did any different?
I think under the
Sorry, my bad. I was paying attention to that. Let me just go back.
Car. This is ridiculous.
Okay,
I have a question for Mike number 3. On
that
the
could
right,
be any of us.
Black Mike.
It's the one on the way right. On the right, people believe that Kyle Rittenhouse, like, he had a right to carry the gun to that protest, but I think we all can agree that that was unwise because of what happened. How is what
Agreed.
Alex Pretti did any different?
Because Kyle Rittenhouse didn't obstruct any federal officers. Obviously, that's the crucial point here. It's not having the gun. It's not shooting the gun. It's not being around federal agents, despite what bullshit is going to come out of Trump's mouth. It's the fact that you were obstructing federal agents. They weren't ICE, or I think that one was CBP, right? Or whoever the fuck it was. They weren't just there hanging out. They weren't just like, let's post up on this corner and see if any illegals come by. They were there doing an operation. And yet everybody was in the street and obstructing, which is already a felony. That's why they were getting arrested.
I think under the law, he did have the right to carry that gun. What he did with it was what I take objection to.
Oh, so when we kill pedophiles and save buildings from burning down, that you have objection to. But obstructing ICE from getting those same types of pedophiles out of this country, I mean,
I think under the law, he did have the right to carry that gun. What he did with it was what I take objection to.
He protected himself from a pedophile leftist terrorist.
I take objection to him shooting people with the gun that he did legally have the right to carry.
What if they shoot him first? Or shoot at him first?
So are we going to get to that now? Because the ICE agents were not, there was no gun out. First of all, Kyle Rittenhouse had his gun out and brandished.
Oh, hold on.
Alex Pretti did not have his gun
Alex
out and
Pretti
brandished.
had been disarmed. There was
He
a
had
gun
been
out.
disarmed.
He did. I'm saying
So was
he
the
did
gun
not,
out or the gun was in?
No. I'm telling
when
you,
they got
he
him
did
to the
not
ground, they took
brandish
the gun
his
out of
weapon.
his. He never
He
brandished.
did not
How'd they know he
brandish
had
his
a gun?
weapon.
When they got him to the ground.
They are federal law enforcement
Was the gun in or
officers.
was
The
the
first
gun
thing
out?
that a federal law
This
enforcement.
is Schrodinger's gun. It's in half the time. It's out half the time.
No. Listen, my father was a 34-year veteran of the FBI, 3-time Trump voter, huge Republican. I've talked to him about. Woo! Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Can we get him up here? I want him up.
Oh, he'd be happy to do this. But he would. What happened to me?
So what happened to you, he says.
All kids rebel.
I tell you, I took after my mother, but she's more conservative than my father.
All right. This is a good family.
then what happened, man?
My dad will tell you this is a bad shoot. And I've never heard my father say any law enforcement shooting was bad until this one.
Oh, so we just go by what your dad thinks, not in Graham v. Connor, not the law, not anything, but what daddy thinks.
The time that 6 ICE agents had beaten Alex Pretti, got him to the ground, the first thing they're going to do is check for a firearm. And that's what they did. And one of them took.
And then what did they do? They said, clear, he's good, so he's not a threat anymore, right? They didn't say that. Yeah, I actually don't believe this either, but let's just say it's true. Let's take people at face value. Your feelings on this do not dictate what the law is. It's that simple.
Had beaten Alex Pretti, got him to the ground. The first thing they're going to do is check for a firearm. And that's what they did. And one of them took it, and then another one shot him 3 times.
Oh, but what's the middle piece that should have happened so to make sure that the officers wouldn't shoot him? Clear.
In the back.
I'm sure your father is a very respectable guy with a nice long history serving America, and he voted for Trump, which I love.
All
He
3
voted
times.
for him in all 3 elections that Trump won. However, I
2
think
out of 3 is good.
I think you will find that
Better than Kamala.
even the subjective judgment of one law enforcement officer or another is not going to overcome the law. And even liberal lawyers seem to agree that the predicate here.
Right, exactly. That's why I feel very bad about Alex Pretti dying, but my feelings don't dictate don't dictate the law, which was followed. See how that works?
For the using force was totally met.
No,
I
there are-
Alex
I think
Pretti will not go to
no,
prison.
listen,
We
this
did
is
a good job getting to whether or not he deserved to die when the question was,
Again, didn't deserve to die.
is Trump still supporting the Second Amendment
Oh, yeah,
by what he said?
So yeah, which law has he said that's keeping guns away from people or taking guns away from people? It was
I thought we had resolved that because
I don't think
again, I'm certainly happy to defend the shooting of Alex Pretti. Trump doesn't really do that himself.
Right, so that's my question. That's
Trump
those
called
are
him
not
a domestic
consistent.
terrorust over the weekend.
the Trump administration.
No,
has
no,
gone
Donald
after
Trump
him.
himself on Truth Social posted that he was a domestic terrorist like
Was
4
it-
days.
was-
yeah, don't like that. Happy to say, Trump, you're wrong there. Disavow.
Is it a retruth?
No, it was him in his own
Interesting.
words.
Wow. Okay, I didn't.
I mean, it was in lowercase,
I'm glad
so I'm
to
not
hear
sure
that.
he
I'm
wrote a
glad
lot.
to
I
hear
know,
that
it's hard
Trump
to catch
is
'em all.
defending the shooting of Alex Pretti even more than he had been.
Right. All right.
Do we have another question? Do we have
Yes.
time? No.
I would like to go back to the original claim of Michael 3.
Yes.
Are we establishing 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I'd like to
All right, so 3 is so 3 is black. Black Mike.
go back to your premise, which is you're saying that his description of not or request not to bring firearms around federal agents.
All right, Lomo. Take it down 1 notch.
Can you describe why his request for people not to do that because it's dangerous is him being anti-Second Amendment?
He didn't request.
Okay, Wakelman said the law was not followed, actually. Shooting Pretti was not necessary, and the inflammatory rhetoric shows the bloodlust in their twisted narrative. So I'm going to ignore the second part because, again, feelings don't have anything to do with the law. So can you show me a law that was broken by the federal officers? That's what we're talking about. The law that was broken.
He said you can't do it. And that decries to me a bias against the Second Amendment because he doesn't want people who he doesn't like to be around law enforcement with weapons. And that is a concerning slippery slope because as soon as you start saying,
honey, that's not how that works.
only certain groups can.
I don't even think it's every. I think most states you don't even have to. Like, there's some states where they give you the card, but that's a TV thing. They don't have like. So you think if he wasn't shot, he could have been went to court? I'm like, well, they didn't read that, and I'm like, well, you're right. See you later. That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Want people who he doesn't like to be around law enforcement with weapons. And that is a concerning slippery slope because as soon as you start saying only certain groups cannot practice the Second Amendment to the
Well,
full
it wouldn't
degree,
be groups, it would be certain situations.
Certain conditions, like while you're obstructing federal law enforcement.
Certain circumstances
But
for any group.
it would be protesters, anti-ICE protesters, likely anti-Trump protesters.
Yeah.
Nope. Those people, if they're obstructing law enforcement.
So I agree. Criminals should not bring guns around cops. I think it's a bad
Protest is
idea.
the First Amendment right. Doesn't make you a criminal.
But
Just because
obstructing
you're
law
protesting.
enforcement's not a protest.
It's
Can you
also
show me
not
in the
a death
video where he
sentence.
obstructed justice in
Yeah.
that incident where he was killed? Don't
It's
talk
also
about
not a death
don't talk about him
sentence.
kicking a car because it's irrelevant to the story.
Well, that is a good example. It's not relevant.
It's not an
Obviously,
example.
that
It's
was
not an
11 days
example because
prior.
at the moment
It's a
In the
good
same city.
example for people.
It's not irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the specific to determining whether or not it was a good shot. It's not irrelevant. It's just irrelevant to that one point. Now, that is a big point. But it's not irrelevant in general.
Meditated
but
murder
also-
if they knew who he was prior to killing him.
I want to just add something a little bit broader to Michael's point here, which is that I
Yeah, Lolo, come on, you got this. Give him if he didn't get it before, give him a yes or no again. You got this. I got faith in you, brother.
For premeditated
But
murder
also-
if they knew who he was
But
prior to killing him.
I want to just add something a little bit broader to Michael's point here, which is that I believe that Donald Trump's support for the situation, for the Constitution, is completely situational. He wants the Second Amendment for him and his people. He wants the First Amendment for him and his people. Doesn't want it for anybody who stands up to him. And so they blame Alex.
I get where that comes from. I disagree. I can see why somebody would think that. Guys, we are tied on the poll. Landscapers. The NRA is a positive force. Oh, we only got 5 people here. All right, I'll leave that up for a little bit more, and we'll see. I mean, we got to break the tie. We got to break the tie.
His people. He wants the First Amendment for him and his people. Doesn't want it for anybody who stands up to him. And so they blame Alex Pretti.
What's your evidence for that?
What's my evidence?
Other than say Alex Pretti.
They talk about being a
that's not
First
a good
Amendment
argument.
absolutist, but he's got no problem using the power of the FCC to silence a comedian that he doesn't like. He's
That wasn't him. That was the FCC guy himself.
got no
When
problem.
did he do that? Which comedian?
Jimmy Kimmel got him taken off the air.
Is Jimmy Kimmel off the air?
He was off the air.
Doesn't mean he didn't try.
Is he off the air?
Doesn't mean he didn't try.
Yeah, he doesn't run a 24-hour stream.
Off the air until,
How long was he off the air?
Hold on, he was off the air for a few days, but it came to the point
right.
where guys like Ted Cruz had to come out and say what
Oh no, a few days without Jimmy Kimmel. What will we do?
Donald Trump did was wrong.
I adore Ted Cruz. He's a good friend of mine, but we
Oh,
had a
glad.
disagreement on that.
Okay, I mean, then your support for the Constitution is
because
situational too.
No, because
Oh no, I'm a First Amendment absolutist.
Well, I'm not a First
but not
Amendment
like this.
absolutist. first of
I
all.
believe in
I'm
the
a
Second
First
Amendment, but not for
absolutist,
Alex
free
Pretti.
speech
Like, come on.
absolutist. But no,
There you
but
go.
Am I getting in on this? All right, I'm getting in on this. So the question was, if a perceived criminal is a car, then they're wizards. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. If a perceived a reason said if a perceived criminal is a vehicle, is in a vehicle, you mean? If a perceived criminal is in a vehicle, are you stepping in front of it? Yes or no? I wouldn't, but I mean, if it's my job to do it, then unfortunately, yes, would be what my job would be.
network television is licensed through the government, so the government has a
that makes it
regulatory
okay for them to shut down a comedian because they made a joke that Trump didn't like.
Yeah.
Yep, and just how this is one of those lawful but awful cases. Cops generally get away with shooting people for holding objects that they mistook for a gun. And in this situation, again, I think it is a grave mistake on the part of the federal officers for not having good enough communication to determine that they had disarmed him. That is the biggest mistake that the law enforcement made. But the problem is the law enforcement wouldn't have been in a situation to make that mistake if he didn't commit the felony of obstructing them first. And again, this is just how the law works. If you're robbing a bank and there happens to be somebody who has a heart attack in the bank, that death is on your hands. That's, again, just how the law works. Shout out to Mid-Most Mark, the man of steel himself. Welcome to the party. Isn't their job? It's exactly not part of their job to stop criminals. That's not part of their job. News to me. Lawful but awful. He should have been there messing with them. Yeah. Doesn't mean he deserves to die. It just means that's one of the things that can happen if you obstruct federal law enforcement while you're armed. Sorry. What? Sorry, I missed that. But welcome to the party.
Through the government, so the
it's
government
licensed,
has a
so that makes it
regulatory
okay for them to shut down a comedian because they made a joke that Trump didn't like.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Well, hey, at least you're honest. I mean, that's good.
I just also want to note that earlier Michael was talking about how we have to have gun regulations, but if I were to suggest we do something about school shootings, be like, oh my God, it's horrible. Like, come on.
Do something like what, Michael? That's the point. I think we would all love to do something about school shootings. But what? Taking away all the guns? No, thank you. Guys, I'm about to hit the ads on the vertical stream. We have gone over an hour without a single donation. What's going on?
What would I say? What would I say in this hypothetical situation you've invented for yourself?
Oh, hypothetical situation like school shootings that happen every single day in
No,
America?
the hypothetical is the conversation that we had in your head about school shootings.
No, because earlier you were talking about how there has to be limits on guns.
there are limits to all rights.
I know. Yeah, I understand that.
So what was the hypothetical?
Well, if
point?
I was to come out and say, hey, we got to do something about school shootings.
But wait, tactical renovations, saying rule number one is a concealed carry person. Never get in a fight with a cop while armed, just basic common sense. By saying that, you are automatically anti-2A, right? That's their logic. White dudes for Harris.
Oh, I would agree.
Okay, what should we do?
We should have more armed guards in schools, and we should arrest more criminals.
Can
and
we
should
also make it harder for people to get a firearm?
We should also. I'll give you a good example. There have been a lot of people who suffer from mental illnesses, especially the transgender delusion, who have shot up schools and churches, and they should be put into psychiatric care and not be given firearms.
He's talking about one person.
I'm talking about more than one person.
And by the way, the NRA had to come out and rebuke conservatives like Michael here for saying that transgender individuals should be able to own firearms. Constitution protects them too.
Well, hold
it's
on.
situational for guys like.
Wait, what am I?
about one person.
I'm talking about more than one
And by
person.
the way, the NRA had to come out and rebuke conservatives like Michael here for saying that transgender individuals shouldn't be able to own firearms. Constitution
Yeah, fair.
protects them too.
Well, hold
It's
on. You're-
situational
hold
for
on.
guys like you.
No, I just don't think that the NRA is the infallible authority on that.
and on that, we
constitutional
agree.
matters.
Yeah, and so you guys are, so I'll come back to this, Minmos. The NRA is a positive force in the USA. 60% of you agree, but 40% of you disagreed. So, you know, I'm not a gun guy. I don't know jack shit about guns. I've held a gun a few times before, never shot a gun. I get conflicting ideas on the NRA. Why do you think the NRA is or is not a positive force? So, Minmos Mark said, it's unlawful to enter or interfere in a scene controlled or occupied by law enforcement in commission of their duties, especially when you're armed. Pretti inserting himself with a gun was a crime.
Bingo.
Exactly. White dudes for Harris, more like gays for Harris. Got him! The footage conflicts with the official story. They were calling Pretti a domestic terrorist before he was off the curb. Agreed. I don't like the domestic terrorist stuff for I don't think that either Renee Good or Alex Pretti were domestic terrorists. I do think it is important to establish that this is the type of behavior that domestic terrorists might involve themselves in. So if you don't want to be called a domestic terrorist, don't act like a domestic terrorist. Hey, shout out to Nexus Abyss with the big 20. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for the Overlord. Thank you. So very, very much. You're over on the Vertical. I'll give you a couple extra seconds. Oh, isn't he so fucking cute? Thank you, sir. Said, question for the chat. Why are we protesting ICE under Trump with about 600K deportations and not under Obama with 3.1 million deportations? A very good question. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. Let's say hello to Box. We got Box in the building. Welcome to the party. Someone's dead in 15 years and won't be here, and they'll be back. What? Who's dead? What? And then what did I miss? Vimo said, let's not get this twisted. It's not their fault. It's the media's as well for perpetuating the narrative that ICE is bad.
Bingo.
Yup. And before we dive back in, Technical Renovation said the NRA it used to be helpful. I feel like them as a lobbyist organization isn't good anymore and is more of a cash grab. That seems to be because, like, what are they? What's the last time that you were like, oh, I'm glad the NRA did that? Whatever it was. When's the last time that happened? Thank you again, sir. Let's dive back in.
Just don't think that the NRA is the infallible authority on that.
And on that, we
constitutional
agree.
matters. Okay. Yeah, trans. Someone said trans.
Trains? No. Are you?
He has to be trans. All right, that's enough.
Can we get that guy a
Here's
beer
the
on my
question.
tab,
You
please?
all-
Seems like he needs it.
Okay.
That's success, right?
Yeah, there we
Which
go.
questioner goes to the VIP table?
Shout out again to Nexus Abyss. Very much appreciated.
One or number two?
Which
Who's going to the VIP?
Number two.
Number two.
Number two. Number two, you're going over to get some delicious Redneck Riviera
All right.
bourbon, some nice Mayflower cigars. And you know what I'm going to do before I drink anymore? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at my
Base, I guess.
beautiful Z-Biotics. That's right, folks. Go to Z.
All right. I don't know what you're selling, and I don't know what it is. So if somebody's, if we're covering something and somebody is sponsored by something that I know, then I'll let it play. But I ain't advertising what, and I don't know what that is.
It's time for round two.
Let's go.
A giant Polish man has just moved me sitting in my chair. It's time for round two. Mike, what are we talking about?
Is that a fetish of yours?
not until now.
I think you keep that to yourself. This is a family-friendly crowd.
Apparently.
All right, my claim here is Trump's failure.
That's fair. Pat said I was 6 then. That's why I didn't protest Obama. That's fair. Other than that, if you're old enough. All right, next prompt.
This is a family-friendly crowd.
Apparently.
All right, my claim here is Trump's failure to prosecute Epstein's associates reveals the rot in our federal government.
Okay.
All right.
What's your case?
All right.
So again, the Trump's failure to prosecute Epstein's associates reveals the rot in our federal government. So, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about gun owners of America. So on this prompt, though, that Trump's failure to prosecute Epstein associates reveals the rot. This cannot be the case because even though I have very many issues with him calling it a hoax and this, that, he's the only one to release them. He's the only one to release them. Biden had them. And expecting that we're just going to get arrests immediately is precisely why we don't, some people were saying that they shouldn't have been released at all. We don't want to be like, oh, your name's there, so you're in trouble. No. This is going to be a long, gradual, drawn-out process of deciphering just because somebody's name is in these emails, in these files. What does that amount to? And there's a lot of shit there. So the idea that he hasn't done this, we're not there yet. You're looking 5 years into the future and being like, oh, he didn't do it by then. We're not there yet. So once again, Trump's failure to prosecute Epstein associates reveals the rot in our federal government.
So look, there is a cabal of very rich and powerful individuals, and it extends beyond party politics and partisanship or anything like that. I'm sorry, what's there?
Again, notice it's always the white dudes for Harris that are just like, oh, whatever do you have to say, audience member? Just talk. You got the microphone, bro.
Or anything like that. I'm sorry, what's there?
The evil cabal is in Minnesota. So fair enough. There is an evil cabal there, too.
There definitely is an evil cabal there, too.
Evil cabal everywhere, apparently. But these guys, of these rich and powerful men, think they can do anything they want with impunity, and it includes potentially Bill Clinton, most likely, based on the files. It includes Donald Trump, who's been credibly on the record from people who have signed, done interviews with the FBI on the record under threat of perjury that Donald Trump threatened a 14-year-old girl.
To be fair, I do think that, if we're going to be charitable, then I think they mean Trump's administration, not Trump himself. But fair.
And you've got, and look, there's a ton of Democrats, ton of Republicans in there. And at the end of the day, nobody's been prosecuted. And even just for a second, set aside the powerful celebrities that we've seen, the powerful politicians that we've seen. How is it possible that 1,000 young girls and 1,000 young boys have been trafficked and only one person's ever gone to prison? It's Ghislaine Maxwell, and she runs herself a minimum security prison.
And Epstein,
who killed himself, which I don't buy at all.
Yeah, me neither. I think he's still alive, either on his island or in Israel.
And I think that Trump is a huge part of it. Trump is mentioned more times in the Epstein Files than Harry Potter is in the entire Harry Potter series. Okay? And so Donald Trump wants to look at the American people and say, I don't know Jeffrey Epstein. I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein except he met his wife at an Epstein party. He partied.
Right. So this is kind of what I mean. That Wake Up Mind saying, so arrest immigrants and kill citizens without due process, which is not what's happening. We're arresting illegal immigrants who are criminal illegal immigrant aliens, and giving them due process. But who's saying hold off on the pedo network? We're all, the only reason that the files are out is because people like us who are not willing to just lick up whatever Trump said. We're like, hey, what the fuck do you mean it's a Democrat hoax? There's no fucking Democrat hoax. This is real shit, and you better release it. Otherwise, we would have still got nothing. So who's holding off? Where are we at? True. I mean, I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Did we get a timeline as to when this was like widely known? I don't know the exact timing, but definitely, 2008 was the first Epstein arrest. So yikes. Hopefully, but I don't know. Actually, I have been. I don't know if you guys know Jesse on Fire, but he's been doing a whole thing on how Charlie's still alive. And how Candace has been right about all of this. And I haven't paid attention to anything that Candace Owens has been saying about this, because I thought she was like, going off the deep end. But I'm trying to get him on the channel maybe next week, and we're going to talk about that. Shout out to Boggs with the big 5. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Oh, Morty's in the way. Hold on. Let's get Morty his treat. Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. Thank you. Boggs said Minnesota White here. I never get paid for my financial advice, and I never get invited to the sex parties. Epstein Files are fake and gay. Okay, Elon. Is this an Elon alt account? Yeah. Yikes. I just said it's pretty bold of them to assume that Maxwell isn't showing a body double. I don't doubt that stuff for a second. To think that they wouldn't do that. To think that they wouldn't do that is insane. I saw a lot of clips of that, and fuck her, she's retarded. I don't know what the game is, but the Dow is up. The Dow is up, guys. Minmo said Trump is playing a 4 to 5D chess right now. That's why he was saying move on from the files. Okay, and what is the other shoe that's gonna drop? Bundy gave congressional members computers with the files and tap their searches. So what's gonna happen? All right.
I don't know. Okay. And so Donald Trump wants to look at the American people and say, I don't know Jeffrey Epstein. I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein except he met his wife at an Epstein party. He partied with Jeffrey Epstein.
When has he ever said that he doesn't know Jeffrey Epstein? When has he ever said that?
Jeffrey Epstein. I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein except he met his wife at an Epstein party. He partied with Jeffrey Epstein.
He's talked about being friends with Epstein.
No, he says that they cut ties.
Yeah,
well,
but he knows.
Right?
He says
so how do you? It's almost like they were friends first, so there were ties to cut.
Stupid. He never said
they
he doesn't know.
partied all over the 90s. There's a million photos.
Yeah, I'm just saying the claim you just made isn't true. You said he says he doesn't know him. He totally.
He says he doesn't know him all the time. Just the other day in the Oval Office, he was like, "I don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein. We should move on." Like, it's ridiculous. Like, there is a group of wealthy and powerful people who want to pit everybody in this room against us.
See, that's why I was so pissed at Trump for saying those things. It doesn't matter to me now that the files are, well, it does matter, but it doesn't erase the fact that he was like, oh, it's a Democrat hoax, because now white boy from Harris is, able to throw that back. Why did he have to say that? He was trying to keep them covered up.
They want us to hate each other so that they can get away with abusing little girls and little boys. And, I'm sick of this shit, and I want to talk about it with you guys.
Okay, so I think that you have just accidentally undercut your whole debate premise right off the top, even without my help.
Are you going to defend what happened in the Epstein files?
I'm not. I'm going to talk about the thing that you brought up in your debate. So you said Trump's failure to prosecute Epstein's associates reveals the rot in our federal government.
Yeah.
But then
I should add, by the way, Joe Biden's failure too, because they didn't prosecute this when Biden was in office.
Sure. I'm just gonna point out, and that actually plays into it as well. I'm going to point out you've undercut your whole debate premise because you have admitted immediately that actually the two top people in the Epstein operation, namely Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, have been prosecuted, and weirdly enough, they were arrested and charged by Donald Trump, not by Barack Obama, not by Joe Biden. It was by Trump. And so right off,
it was like 500 gallons or something, right? Like we cannot let, regardless of what the white dudes from Harris are saying about, oh, they wanted to divide us and that is true. There is a vested interest on both sides to have us, the normal people who aren't going to an island to rape little girls and sacrifice babies, to fight with each other. Let's not do that. Let's be mad at them. No, that doesn't mean that every other issue evaporates. But let's focus. Let's lock in.
Not by Barack Obama, not by Joe Biden. It was by Trump. And so right off the bat, the premise is false. But then let's go down further, because I think a lot of people want to see more prosecutions in the Epstein case.
Or any prosecutions at this point.
Sure, other than the top two, sure.
Yeah, but they moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security prison and promised her a pardon.
Sure. I mean, she's serving a 20-year sentence.
Well, but if we're going to get information, that's worth it. If we're going to get real information, I'm fine with that.
But I
She's
agree.
going to
We
get
want more
pardoned at the end.
prosecutions.
Listen,
but here's my question.
Show of hands. How many people think Ghislaine Maxwell's going to get pardoned at the end of Trump's term? Like, come on.
Nobody.
Really? Come on.
Nobody thinks so, of course.
I think so.
She's not going to be in prison at the moment.
The question then becomes, though, because, we agree the premise is wrong, but the thrust is fine. We want more prosecutions. Okay, who would you prosecute and on what grounds?
Yeah, so I would start here. One, I don't believe that the DOJ has taken this case seriously at all. and just separate out the names for a second, how can they traffic 1,000 young girls and 1,000 young boys without other people who help them do that? Help them recruit those girls, move them around.
I'm asking a direct question. Who
I don't
would you
have a
prosecute?
specific name
Well,
because
there you go. That's the problem.
Exactly. That is the specific problem. And so the yet again, an a lack of understanding from whether it's the left or there's a lot of woke right people who are like, oh, why do you even care about this? Daddy Trump said just forget about it, so we're just going to forget about it. Yeah, I'm not playing that shit. I'm not playing that shit. And so the other side of it, what those people are tending to think is that, oh, you're going to defend what's going on? No. But that doesn't mean that you can just throw that out as a trump card, no pun intended, and act like other aspects don't make it. Uh-oh. You got to call somebody out for hot potato, not it. You don't say not it. You say hot potato, and then you tag somebody. That's how it works. You throw the hot potato to somebody, and the hot potato would just be on the ground.
those girls, move them around.
I like that, though. Start it off. Tag somebody.
I'm asking a direct question. Who would you prosecute?
Name
there you go. That's the problem. You say we have to prosecute.
So you think it was a mom?
Hold on.
So you think it was a mom and pop sex trafficking operation in Florida?
You're inventing a bunch of things I've never said.
I'm asking you questions that you can answer, but you're not answering.
You made a claim. You said Trump needs to prosecute the DOJ needs, and I said, okay, who do you want?
The DOJ.
Who do you want? Well, at least they're distinct, but
no,
yes, they work for the administration.
That's how John Lemon got arrested on Friday. I'm sure it's because they're very separate.
You're trying to avoid the question.
Wait, whoa. What was that? Whataboutism? And notice how, well, yeah, and you know what you're doing. You know you're being sneaky. If you believed in what you were saying, you would just say it with your chest. So what is he saying?
Needs to prosecute the DOJ needs, and I said, okay,
who do you want? The DOJ.
Who do you want? Well, at least they're distinct, but
no,
yes, they work for the
administration. He said
the DOJ needs, and I said, okay,
who do you want? The DOJ.
Who do you want? Well, at least they're distinct, but
right. So he's trying to say that Trump is the DOJ. Trump is not the DOJ. Trump is in charge of the DOJ.
No,
yes, they work for the administration.
That's how John Lemon got arrested on Friday. I'm sure it's because they're very separate.
You're trying to avoid the question.
All right, I'm gonna start it then. I'm gonna take Waco Mine's idea, but do it right. Boom. That is how you do it. You gotta tag somebody. Now, Box has the hot potato, and Box, you gotta get rid of that hot potato, brother.
Work for the
administration.
That's
how John Lemon got arrested on Friday. I'm sure it's because they're very separate.
You're trying to avoid the question. You said Trump needs to prosecute more people. I said, great. Who do you want to prosecute? And you said, Herder, I don't know.
That's not at all what I said.
Who should he prosecute?
I said, how is it possible?
You're avoiding the question.
I don't have a specific name because...
Exactly. We need to parse through all of this to determine what names do need to be further investigated, arrested, all of that stuff. That is relevant. It's not, you can't just go after people for going after people. Hey, Mr. Hot Potato himself, burning his hands. Actually, that's the new way. That's the new way to get out of Hot Potato. $2 super chat or more. I like this game. Bucks. Now you gotta tag, so now I gotta tag somebody else. All right, I'll tag somebody else. Let's go with I think this person will play along. Let's see.
Who should he prosecute?
I said, how is it possible?
You're avoiding the question.
I don't have a specific name.
Oh, sorry. For the $2, Buck said Massey named 4 innocent men the other day on cricket. What is cricket? Well, and exactly. This is why it needs to take time. The desire to do things quickly is going to botch the entire goal of getting the people who we want out of power and behind bars. That will be messed up if we try to do it too quickly. Do I have any faith that it's going to be, anything close to the amount of people that I think should be behind bars? Probably not. But we can hope.
At all what I said.
Who should he prosecute?
I said, how is it possible?
You're avoiding the question.
I don't have a specific name because guess what? I'm not in the
Let
Epstein
him
Files.
prosecute Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
start there.
Prosecute Bill Clinton.
Okay, on what grounds?
I don't like Bill Clinton. Whatever the FBI has in those files is.
Have you looked at the files? Have any of you
I have looked at the files.
Okay, on what grounds are you going to prosecute Bill Clinton?
I didn't say prosecute Bill Clinton, but
on what grounds are you going to prosecute Bill Clinton?
On what he tells Congress when he comes in to testify in public.
You're going to prosecute him for something he hasn't done yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-crime. What's wrong with that? I didn't see Minority Report.
to testify in
Like,
On what-
I
yes,
have looked at the
Okay,
files.
on what grounds are
what's
you going
good
to
enough
prosecute
to
Bill
bring
Clinton?
him to testify
I didn't say
before
prosecute Bill
Congress?
Clinton, but like,
On what grounds are you going to prosecute Bill Clinton?
On what he tells Congress when he comes in to testify in
I thought maybe that was like a tongue-in-cheek thing. I didn't specifically hear. But he's like, well, tomorrow he's going to say something, so arrest him now.
public
You're
hearing.
going to prosecute him for something he hasn't done yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you prosecute?
look, again, I want to find the co-conspirators who traffic these kids.
Okay.
So if you're asking me for their names, and by the way,
I am asking you for their names, and you won't give them.
I don't.
These are the right questions. Now, I have heard that they some of the co-conspirator names were redacted because the whether it's the DOJ or the FBI or whoever is already starting stuff, starting investigations and stuff like that. So if let's say Bill Gates, if Bill Gates is already under investigation, then they don't want to fuck up their investigation by putting out a bunch of public knowledge that his team can defend against. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that's what I've been heard.
These kids.
Okay.
So if you're asking me for their names, and by the way,
I am asking you for their names, and you won't give them.
I don't know the names of most of the perpetrators because the DOJ blocked them out.
Right.
They had
So-
no problem releasing the private information of the victims of Epstein's crimes, but they had a huge problem releasing the names of people who preyed on little girls and little
That's
boys.
not true.
That is true.
I could give you plenty of names. Adriana Ross, Nadia Marcinko, Sarah Kellen. These are
Okay, so we're not doing hot potato. I thought that was gonna be a fun little game, but all right.
the closest associates around Jeffrey Epstein, who we have firm facts, because I actually have gone through a lot of the files. We know that they were trafficking the girls.
Sure.
Those are the ones you'd want to prosecute. All women, by the way, weirdly enough. You know why we can't prosecute them? Because they're protected by a 2008 non-prosecution agreement long before Trump entered the scene.
Which was by a Republican that Donald Trump put in his cabinet.
Who else?
So Norm said, Massey asked why the 4 men were redacted while admitting they may have done nothing. He just wanted to know why they were redacted. Seems fair to me. Wiggleman said, so the law could act quickly concerning Pretti, who had no known connection to the Epstein Files. Are you serious? Do you think that the prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein and the would-be prosecution of Alex Pretti would be the same type of thing? Come on, you're just reaching now. You're just reaching. Shout out to Blueberry Street. Welcome to the party. Can't stay. Want to say hey. Always a pleasure to see you.
Do you want to
the labor
prosecute?
secretary.
Who else do you want to prosecute?
What-
Do you want to prosecute Les Wexner? On what grounds? Sure, maybe on what grounds? Do you want to prosecute Alan Dershowitz? On what? A claim that was made and then retracted by the claimant? You want to prosecute Bill Clinton? On what?
I would like to investigate those things.
You say he went after a 14, 13-year-old girl. That case was already brought to court multiple times. A California judge dismissed it, and then the claimant dropped it twice. So who are you going to prosecute? You
Claimant
can't give me
dropped it
anyone.
twice
You're
after
saying
she
Trump's
was
a bad guy
threatened,
for
by
not
the way.
prosecuting anyone. I say, great. Who do you want to prosecute? You said, I have no idea.
What I am trying to say is that there is a powerful group of people in this country who think they can get away with anything. And right now they're getting away with abusing little boys and little girls.
Okay, and how does that? Wasn't this about the prosecutions? No, again, nobody is. You're switching. I don't know if it's moving the goalpost or if it's the Mott and Bailey. You're saying that because we are acknowledging that we are not yet at a place where we can prosecute the people that we all want prosecuted, that Trump is bad. But you yourself admit that we don't have enough information yet. So what is it that you want?
And they're getting away with it because multiple presidential administrations, Democrat and Republican, sir, have refused to take these allegations seriously and investigate it. And
Until Trump, despite the fact that he tried to cover it up, we have at least a lot of the files. So this is not a partisan issue, and you making it about Trump is going to fuck it all up. You are the one who literally just sat there and said, they're trying to divide us. And then acting like a bunch of us don't want pedophiles prosecuted.
right now, if you go look at the documents that they dropped on Friday, the names of the perpetrators of the crimes are blacked out.
That's not true.
It is
I
true.
just named I named a bunch of the associates. I just named.
No, I'm talking about the people who are abusing little girls.
Yeah, me too.
You're talking about the people who trafficked. You had their names. I'll give you credit for that. Congratulations.
I'll go further than that.
But, like,
I agree. I don't like it. But again, to the part, like, yes, as a statement of fact, I agree. It makes him look guilty. But if we're talking about the issue and precedents and saying that Trump is the one who did X, Y, and Z, that's a silly framing. That's a silly framing. Boss said Trump is bad because he is part of the same group. Okay, well, chill on the racism, but okay. Tactical said, I think it's so big. Trump knew it would be a shit show and realized no matter what he did, no one would be happy. So you lie to your base that fair enough. In terms of, is that what happened? But I maintain the right to be pissed off that he tried to bullshit me. Be honest. That's it. Shout out to Ahmed Infidel. Welcome. Yeah, you can't prosecute someone because of an email. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what's in the email, but you need more than that. All right, welcome to the party, guys. Let's dive right back in.
Me too.
You're talking about the people who trafficked. You had their names. I'll give you credit for that. Congratulations.
I'll go further than that.
But,
People have had claims made against them. Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz.
They are blocking out the names, and they've never.
And someone, I forget who it was. Lone Wolf, was it you? Are you still here? Lone Wolf's giving me shit and acting like that part didn't happen. He's like, Trump promised the files, and now the files are out. What's the big deal? Like, come on, man. Lone Wolf, it wasn't you. I apologize. But either way, like, what the president says matters.
Seriously investigated the claims that have made. And again, it's not just Donald Trump's fault.
In the files, you can see the investigations. You just cited it because you were talking about the claims made by the women to the FBI.
Yeah.
And notice he also said it's not Donald Trump's fault.
So you yourself admit they've been
you don't believe the claims is what you're saying.
Well, in some cases, the claims not only were deemed not credible by the FBI across multiple administrations, but in some cases, the claims were retracted by the accusers themselves, as in the case of Alan Dershowitz.
But again...
And again... He's using the claims as if there is one category, the claims. You either believe the claims or you don't believe the claims. That's not how this works.
And we know that this is a real thing because Ghislaine Maxwell...
You're not giving me any names.
What was Ghislaine Maxwell found guilty of?
She was of conspiracy to traffic minors.
Yes, she's also a registered sex offender. So why is she in a minimum security prison after Todd Blanche?
Isn't that part of the problem that we don't know?
Yeah.
We do not have a lot of these redacted names.
Yes, that is part of the problem. But just going out and prosecuting people based on your feelings and the fact that they emailed somebody does not help that. You think because you're like, oh, but the poor children. Because you're giving more emotion that you're more right. No. That's what we call virtue signaling. I care more about the children than you do because hold on. I don't want them to be raped. So, I mean, that's what this is. Just virtue signaling till the end of time. Shout out to Mid-Most Mark, man of steel himself with the $2 make you holla. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for Morty said, Trump, oxygen is good. Libs covers head with a bag. Seems to be that way. I mean, it's not even really a joke anymore after the Tylenol thing. When, just forever, it's been known that it's not ideal to take Tylenol when you're pregnant. And he happened to just say that. And a bunch of pregnant liberal women literally took a bunch of Tylenol and posted it on TikTok because TikTok didn't happen. And it's literally caring more about hating Trump than loving your own child. Make it make sense. You can't, bro. You can't. Because it doesn't.
And so we don't know. And that's part of the big problem here.
Maybe. We have a lot of the names without redactions, and you guys haven't given me an argument as to why we would go after them, and you haven't named anyone else to go after. Okay.
It isn't about me wanting to go after them. It's that the DOJ has never taken this seriously.
Okay, question?
Exactly. It's about us taking it seriously. You don't want to just go out and arrest people willy-nilly, so you're not taking it seriously. That's the argument that is being presented by Mr. White Dude from Harris.
Michael, I tend to agree with Mike too this time that the whole situation is FUBAR.
You say FUBAR?
Yes.
I love that word.
I agree with that.
My favorite word.
Before I get into the question for you, actually, both questions are for Michael. I just want to start with, Michael, where's a good place locally here to go get a Mayflower and sit down and enjoy it?
I have like 5 good answers for you. And I will tell you after this show
Fantastic. Let me know.
But I don't want to blow up my spots on air.
Absolutely.
So YouTube,
Okay,
you're not
so-
getting it. If you want to know the good spots,
There we go. There we go. That's how we do it. So now, DJ, you've got the hot potato. So you just, I've got the hot potato. Oh, shit. All right. So this is how it goes. But we're not going to stop it every time. Just keep it running. All right, let's fucking go. That is me, the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of Common Sense, guys. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe. And you know that YouTube sucks with those notifications, so you may as well ring the bell so you never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever. Again, my hands are burning. I got the hot potato.
Fantastic. Let me know.
but I don't want to blow up my spots on air.
Absolutely.
So YouTube,
Okay,
you're not
so-
getting it. If you want to know the good spots in Nashville, you got to show up to Bar Fight at John Rich's
Okay,
right
well,
after
tell-
the era.
He said
Fantastic.
he wants
Tell
a little
me
bit of
after
ad
show.
money, I think. Yeah.
Now, with regard to the Epstein issue,
Yes, sir.
and your position, Michael Knowles,
Yeah.
that we know all we're going to know. I'd like to know how you suggest we react when, as Mike too said, the situation is
still here?
so foobar, not
We'll give him a chance. I don't know if he's still here. We'll see.
not accomplishing anything other than distractions. What do we do with this situation? What do you recommend or prescribe?
Yes. Okay. And to articulate,
Before we get to that, let's shout out Cheddar Steve over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Said voter ID is clearly racist, but we should definitely have ID to purchase watermelon. Welcome.
Do with this situation? What do you recommend or prescribe?
yes. Okay. And to articulate my view, which you alluded to, my point, which I've said from the beginning, I've been vindicated every step of the way, is what
Just like Donald Trump, total
I know
vindication.
I have been totally vindicated on this. There are two possibilities with Epstein. Either Epstein is what the mainstream narrative tells us, just like a kind of eccentric rich guy who was a sex freak and had no connections to intelligence or no associates, or just forget about it, move along. Either that's true, or Epstein was something else. He was a little bit more than that. In either case, we are not going to get any more information. If it were the first mainstream narrative, which I don't believe, then we obviously already know everything we're going to know. If it's the second narrative, which is that this guy was mobbed up with like everybody, with intelligence services all over the place, if people cite the CIA, the United States, or Israel, or Russia has come out in this tranche of documents, or the Arabs, or MI6, or the list goes on and on and on. It seems like this guy was mobbed up with everybody. And so we're probably not going to get much more information on it. In terms of the radical transparency we have millions and millions of documents that were released by Donald Trump. When you look at any of the potential prosecutions, no one has been able to bring one because there is not sufficient evidence. And in the cases where there are,
Yet, not sufficient evidence yet. That's what investigations are for.
and those four people that I mentioned, they're already protected by a non-prosecution agreement. So I'm not telling you this to say it's like a great thing and how wonderful it is that all but two people got off the hook in the Epstein scandal, but I'm mentioning that because that's reality. And sometimes people don't want to hear the truth, but it's a fact. And when people go on and tell you that Trump didn't prosecute Epstein's associates, one, that's a lie. And when they tell you that this is Trump's fault or something like that, it's totally ridiculous.
What was he saying? I think it was today or yesterday. He was making some speech to Europeans about how it's like, I mean, we want to make things good with you guys, but we'll make things good despite you guys. I think he's definitely running 28.
If there were something for the White House to do, I promise you they would do it. This is politically radioactive for them. The problem is there is nothing to be done. And the idea that there would be, after well over a decade of this, 15 years of this, some smoking gun document that has survived all of the intelligence agencies up until now, that's finally going to blow the lid on it. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
So I'd like to rebut that.
And actually, Wickermind, I agree with you in the sentiment that we're probably not going to get the types of prosecutions that we want. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. And it doesn't mean we won't at least get some. And, if somebody is, if somebody's hurting children, getting rid of one of them is helpful, especially to the children they would have otherwise hurt. I mean, I think we still have to grasp the scope of exactly what the fuck is really going on. Because we've known, but yikes. Having the files is a different game.
the lid on it. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
So I
Don't forget about Twitch. We got 43 now. Let's go. Welcome to the party. Morty's got a hot potato. How the fuck am I supposed to do it? What? All right. So let's figure out what to do with that.
I'm finally going to blow the lid on it. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
So I'd like to rebut that, if that's all right, because let's talk about how we got here. Like you say, Donald Trump released these files as if there hasn't been like a year of a cover-up in place by Pam Bondi and the DOJ at, I believe, Donald Trump's orders.
What cover-up? Trump's the one who arrested Epstein and Maxwell.
Let's remember.
Yeah, so I can definitely see where you're going to say, you have issues with Pam Bondi and the binders and all of that. Fair. But what makes you think it's at his discretion? It makes a lot more sense that given he ran on releasing the files, given that he put Kash Patel and Dan Bongino at the head of the FBI, that his intention originally was to release the files. And then, I don't know, maybe he just saw it and he was like, oh, this is going to be worse than I thought. Or if somebody got to him, or somebody was like, we're going to kill your family. I don't know. Something changed.
That was in the first term. We're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
They violated the law
already
with how long it took for them to release the last tranche
So,
of files.
Well, let's hold on.
So
Before we even get there, though.
Michael's been consistent on his show about his position, but my question for you, Michael, a little deeper was, how do either we as normies, as a public, respond to the situation at this point, or how should the administration change anything, handle anything differently? Because the whole thing is just a botch job from end to end.
I agree with you, and I want to talk about why it's a botch job, because nobody should forget that right after the 4th of July on a Sunday night, the DOJ announced they were done with the Epstein investigation. After throughout the entire Trump campaign, they were promised to release every document to prosecute every single person that they could. They said there was nothing, that there was no files. And it took
they said no client
No,
list.
they said there was nothing. There's no list. There's no nothing. We're done. We've reviewed everything. We've got nothing for you.
Don't you think that if there was something that I would tell you? Direct quote from Kash Patel. And also conveniently, Dan Bongino. Come on, man. No, Dan. No, Kash. I think that you would be saying exactly this in this manner if there was a lot of shit that you were hiding. And guess what? You were.
And after, by the way, embarrassing the shit out of libs of TikTok and other influencers by making them wave binders. And I thought that was super damn embarrassing.
I wasn't at that meeting.
I got
trust me, bro.
an embarrassing.
Yeah, can we agree that was embarraing?
I'm glad I didn't get a binder.
Yeah,
That's good enough.
You have better sense than libs of TikTok. But look,
she didn't know what she was getting into.
It took.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it was cringe, but that was done to them. Pam Bondi fucked them over. And like, look, we have you we have this thing. It's not like walking out of just like right now. It's not like walking out of the office. You automatically, have the information neural linked to your brain. You have to read them.
Democrats and Republicans coming together with a discharge petition to get that bill to move forward and to create the political conditions for Donald Trump to be so scared of the public's reaction that he was forced to sign it. And I want to remind
I do think he might be right there. And the fact that they thought that would fly is scary. Because that means that it's just one level higher of a lie, or one level lower, less of a severe issue that we're talking about. That people will buy the bullshit.
people that according to Thomas Massie, who's a Republican conservative member of Congress, he was threatened by the FBI to have his staff brought up on fraud charges if they didn't stop pushing the Epstein files. So this administration is pushing hard to make sure you never see it. And my reaction to the gentleman, he's no longer there, who asked this question is, your reaction should be anger. You should be pissed off that the federal government is lying to you like this.
We are. That doesn't mean that we forget about all other things in life. It's as if you're not saying all of the time, I want people arrested. I don't know who, but I want them arrested. Then you don't care.
That's it. And what should they do about it?
Well, you can't vote him out.
All right. The same thing Trump did, I guess. Actually, Trump's done a lot more because he released the
Trump
file.
hasn't done anything. Come on.
Other than arrest Epstein, arrest Maxwell, unlike any Democrats, and then
release the fucking files.
Release 3.5 million files.
I know,
Other than that, he's done nothing.
I know
Okay.
you got to protect your daddy, but this is
No,
embarrassing.
I have to
like,
state
come on.
facts truthfully in circumstance. Next question.
Hi, Michael. This
Yes.
question is for you.
Oh, the hair! The hair! No nose ring, though. No nose ring. Do we think... Of course, she's behind the blue gloves. But do we think this is going to be made better by the fact that she doesn't have a nose ring, or made worse by the fact that she has blue hair?
acts truthfully in circumstance. Next question.
Hi, Michael. This
Yeah.
question is for you. So Trump has said that he thinks it's time to move on from the Epstein Files. Do you agree with him? And what should we do about it?
Well, it's time to move on from the Epstein Files in the sense that he released the files. I mean, the remaining files.
Yeah, but he didn't when he said that.
There are like many legal reasons why they can't be released. Some of which is that a lot of it's child. But he's released 3.5 million of them.
Allegedly.
We know a lot, and there are redactions for all sorts of reasons. But I agree it's time to move on from the files because the files part has been accomplished. What I want to know with Epstein is a consistent question, which is, I don't need to know all the lurid details. I would like for there to be justice for the victims, if there can be. I want to separate the credible claims from the false claims, some of which have been proven. But what I want to know is, who was Epstein working for and for what purpose?
Who was he working for and what purpose? Why was he working for Israel Insidious? Shout out to Box with the big 5. Thank you, sir. I think we got to do some math. Let's see. Of course, a treat for Morty. Box said we could be watching the actual people running for midterms right now. Kind of important. Are the news channels that you watch not covering the people who are running for the midterms right now? You should be watching a different news channel if whatever news channel you watch are not talking about the people running for the midterms. If you came here looking for a news report, that's not really what we do here. But whatever news you're watching, and again, this is not news. What I'm doing is not news. This is culture and commentary. Whatever news you are watching should absolutely be talking about people running for the midterms right now. Very much important. Books again. And now definitely a new sponsor of the stream. Another treat for the overlords. Are we going to pay attention to the files or who we are going to vote for in a few months? This is exactly what I just got finished saying, Box. Exactly, directly, specifically what I was saying. Do you remember what I said about the last thing that the Green Michael said? I said that acting like that, just because you're not crying and yelling for people to be prosecuted without the information doesn't mean that you don't care about other things or that you shouldn't be paying attention to this at all. So the answer is very obviously both. I mean, unless you only pay attention to one issue at a time, then yeah, this is the issue at this moment that I'm talking about right now. But I didn't forget about the midterms because I'm talking about Epstein, and I didn't forget about Epstein because I'm talking about the midterms.
But what I want to know is, who was Epstein working for and for what purpose? And even that is not a simple answer. Some people want to say he was, like a super spy for Mossad or for the CIA or for, now the story is the Polish prime minister saying he was a super spy for Russia and for this group and that group. And the reality is there's evidence to back up like all of that. And it's very unclear what his actual mission was. Furthermore, the claim that he was a spy makes people think that he was James Bond, training at Langley or something.
All right, next I still got it by $3, but thank you both, and thank you all very, very much.
For more, the claim that he was a spy makes people think that he was James Bond, training at Langley or something, on a mission to. But I don't think that's really what he did. I think he was a dodgy influence peddler who collected connections and greased the wheels of government and business and politics around the world. And so I want to know what that is. I want to know the machinery of the corruption more than I want to know the lurid details.
I'm going to be honest, I did not even listen to what her question was. Sorry, I'm going to run that back. My bad. All right, take
next question.
My bad.
Michael, this question is for you. So Trump has said that he thinks it's time to move on from the Epstein Files. Do you agree with him? And what should we do about it?
Well, it's time to move on from the Epstein Files.
Okay, I did hear that. My bad.
In the sense that he released the files. I mean, the remaining files, there are like many legal reasons why they can't be released, some of which is that a lot of it's child. But he's...
Are you taking sides against the victims? You want to be raped for $1 million? Are you dense? Nope. Been very explicit about how that is not at all what's being said. Are you dense? Projection!
At least 3.5 million of them. We know a lot. You know, and there are redactions.
Wait, for real though. What did I say? What collection of words came out of my mouth and went into your mind and was like, "Oh, he said the victims are bad, and he wants them to be." What? What did I say? Because clearly I've messed up somewhere as a communicator. If this is what you got from what I've been saying.
For all sorts of reasons. But I agree it's time to move on from the files because the files part has been accomplished. What I want to know with Epstein is a consistent question, which is, I don't need to know all the lurid details. I would like for there to be justice for the victims if there can be. I want to separate the credible claims from the false claims, some of which have been proven. But what I want to know is, who was Epstein working for and for what purpose? And even that is not a simple answer. Some people want to say he was, you know, like a super spy for Mossad or for the CIA or for, now the story is the Polish.
But 40 chess for what? What is the end game?
Prime Minister saying he was a super spy for Russia and for this group and that group. And the reality is there's evidence to back up like all of that. And it's very unclear what his actual mission was. Furthermore, the claim that he was a spy makes people think that he was James Bond, you know, training at Langley or something, you know, on a mission to, but I don't think that's really what he did. I think he was a dodgy influence peddler who collected connections.
I'm going to assume that you're talking to someone in the chat. Because all I've been doing is shitting on Trump, but okay.
And grease the wheels of government and business and politics around the world. And so I want to know what that is.
Okay, what is it that I said? What words did I say that made you think that I am against the victims? That was the question. Not just did you hear me? What words did I say? What were the words that you heard so loud and clear? If it was loud and clear, then it shouldn't be that hard to repeat it back. What? So let's go back. Let's go back to y'all saying I'm simping for Trump and going against the victims. Give me a timestamp. We'll run it back. Go ahead. Oh, you can't because you're stupid. Because that's the opposite of what I've been saying.
Stupid. I want to know the machinery of the corruption more than I want to know the lurid details. That needs to be pursued. That we need to continue to follow. However, I'm open to suggestions on how to do it because he obviously ran a very sophisticated operation and
he gave it to you.
And no one's been able to come up with answers yet.
Can I jump in here with 2 points? The first is they have not released all of the Epstein files. That is something they continue to lie about. And what
should they release all the child?
What if it's actual
not necessarily
child,
to the public,
not to the public.
Okay, then they should release members of
Congress. But like, look. I don't buy their claim that there's just a bunch of child there. It feels like
you don't think there's child.
I'm sure that there is, but I think the idea that the remaining files is all child.
Not saying it's all.
Given the number of times that they've lied, we should take nothing that this administration says at face value. The second,
so you should never take anything any administration says at face value.
Thing is, and on that first point, they still haven't released the names of everyone who's been accused of violence against little boys and little girls in the Epstein files. They are concealing those names, and the question is why. Now, number two,
again,
wait. I let you talk. Can you let me finish, please?
Sure.
Thank you. And you can tell me why I'm wrong in a second.
Happily.
Right? But like the second point I want to make is
4D chess is the chess that has multiple things, right? So like if you're playing 4D chess, you could tell somebody that I'm not just making a move on this board. I'm making a move up to here. So if you're claiming that he's playing 4D chess, I'm asking, what is he trying? What is the thing that he's trying to accomplish?
You've brought up multiple times, like, is he a Mossad agent? What's this? He's a super spy. Like, what is he? And that's a very clever thing that MAGA-oriented influencers are doing right now because they want you focused on that so that you can be like, ooh, was he working for Putin? Ooh, was he working for Benjamin Netanyahu? Instead of going, how is it possible that nobody is being prosecuted for these crimes? How is it possible that they're concealing these names and this information?
I just explained that to you.
Look over here. Don't look over here. Like, come on.
Who's outed themselves? Has somebody outed themselves?
Just explained it to you because you can't name the crimes or the people to prosecute.
I can't because I don't have all the information.
There you go.
Exactly.
Okay,
they're concealing the names.
Question.
They're concealing the names. How much?
Right. So that's why we can't prosecute them. That's why we can't prosecute them. All right. Well, I did.
I'm supposed to tell you the names of the things.
Oh no. Who did I sent it over to the other side? I sent it to Avery. Avery's got the hot potato. Avery, you gotta tag somebody to send the potato.
information.
There you go.
Okay, they're concealing the
next
names.
question.
They're concealing the names. How am I supposed to tell you the names of the things that are concealed?
Is it possible that the names that are concealed could be concealed because there's an active investigation against those names, and that creating?
I'm saying I don't know that that's the truth, but that is something that I've heard from lawyer type people.
Or leaking those names out to the public could create a public just outcry against those people that would jeopardize the.
You never heard of hot potato? Hot potato, where you have a ball and you throw it and you pretend it's a hot potato, so you can't hold on to it too long. You got to pass it to somebody else. So just say their name. Yeah, just like the Richard or Chad or who else you got over? Otterbahn or Yaya Senwar or whoever you like. Just pass the potato. Oh my goodness! Now we've got a new sponsor of the stream. Let's get rid of this and show Morty getting the big old $10 block there. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. Buck says, so the government compiled all these files. Why would they make them all and not actually prosecute the crimes therein? It makes no sense. All the local DAs and cops, for decades, it's a witch hunt. Is it a witch hunt, or are they not prosecuting the crimes? It can't be both. Again, the collection of files is not the same thing as reading and determining what is in those files. So if these files were just dropped, like, okay, sure, some people had them, but the people who can actually start investigations and prosecute these people need more than your name was searchable in the files. That's the point. It's not, nobody's saying don't go after them. We have to determine who are the right people. And then again, going back to the question of the co-conspirators being redacted, could be, I'm not saying I believe this, but it could be that some of those people are already under investigation.
Names that are concealed.
The names. How am I supposed to tell you the names of the things that are concealed?
Is it possible that the names that are concealed could be concealed because there's an active investigation against those names, and that creating or leaking those names out to the public could create a public just outcry against those people that would jeopardize the trial?
Yes,
or
that is true.
I would be very surprised.
Another reason that it would be irresponsible to release just any name willy-nilly that's had an accusation is because it would undermine the bedrock principle of our system of justice, which is that people are innocent until proven guilty. We already know
Except for
a
Alex
fact.
Pretti, though, he deserved to die.
Well,
Right?
Alex
That's what you
Pretti
said earlier.
Again, they keep using this deserve to die. You deserved to die. Just like because you went hiking and broke your ankle, you deserved to have your ankle broken, right? Semantic obfuscation.
It's had an accusation is because it would undermine the bedrock principle of our system of justice, which is that people are innocent until proven guilty. We already know
Except
for
for
a
Alex
fact.
Pretti, though, he deserved to die.
Well,
Right?
Alex
That's what
Pretti,
you said earlier.
Again, that's a little.
You said it was a good shoot.
Yeah, it was a good shoot. Yes, people who are actively obstructing law enforcement with guns and double mags are putting themselves in danger, and unlike things are not alike. I agree with that.
on.
But to your point on why they might conceal some of the names, you can't just air totally unfounded accusations, especially accusations that have been investigated and been found, including by judges in some cases, to not be credible. That would be reckless and would undermine the bedrock principle of American justice. Okay, and
There we go. And Box again out sponsoring himself with another $5 make you holla. Thank you. Said if they could have won cases, they already would have. Why do you say that? Why is it not what I'm saying? That the drop of the files does not mean an understanding of what's in the files. Why is it wrong that there needs to be a period of time where people are reading through the files to determine what is in the files, and that determination has not been made yet? Why is that incorrect? Why is that incorrect?
any other questions over there? Do we have any?
Thank you for being the new sponsor of the stream. Shout out to Mary, what's her face?
Reckless and would undermine the bedrock principle of American justice. Okay, any other questions over there? Do we have any questions? Hello?
Yes. I have a question for the man in green. It's a very simple question. I want to know why you expect to be taken seriously in a political debate when you showed up to the debate in a hoodie.
Wow. You want to talk about shots fired? Justifiable shots fired. That's a
what? That was stupid.
lot.
I'm at a bar.
Yeah, right. What are we talking?
It's called Bar Fight.
Yeah, wait. So is this W? Is this W for box for if they could have won cases they already would have? Somebody please tell me why I'm incorrect about the fact that we need time. The cops and DAs already read through them. If there were cases there that would have been brought up. I don't think that's. I mean, I don't think that's how that works. Why? No, right? They collected information. They collect files, meaning files on a computer. They extracted these files, and now they've been put out. Am I just completely wrong about that? Okay, so like that's right, because then very clearly when Michael Knowles is like, okay, well, who do you want to prosecute? Well, Google, Jeffrey Epstein, the other people involved. So again, just tell me stop with the just tell me answer the question. The question is, why am I incorrect that there is time needed to parse through the files? You are wrong, Lutch, that time is needed to go through the files because don't answer a question with a question. Just say the sentence. You are wrong about there needing to be time because.
I showed up to drink. By the way, they asked me a week ago what beer I wanted. I said Guinness, and then suddenly at the last minute, the Guinness tap broke.
I know,
So
the
the sabotage happened at the beginning.
Projection. The only time a liberal is happy is when they're mad. But okay, yeah, you just randomly came in here talking shit, but we're the ones whining. Okay, that's what those words mean.
And suddenly at the last minute, the Guinness tap broke.
I know,
So
the
the sabotage happened at the beginning. So
it was rigged. It was
rigged. It was a rigged beer raid. Like, look, I don't like the president of the United States wears a long red tie and wears a suit 2 sizes too big. Like, who cares what people wear? Like, focus on the content. Like, Michael's got a nice suit on. Michael's got, I don't know, a bomber jacket on with a nice gold watch. Like, whatever. You either like me or you don't. I don't give a shit.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's had a few non-Guinness beers in him. He doesn't care.
Hey,
okay.
bartender, 3 shots of tequila, 1 for each of us.
What?
Let's
Hold
go.
on, I got to do another show
Come on,
later. Hold on,
bartender.
I got to.
What is my opinion about what? About the O.J. Simpson case? What is your? That's a very broad thing. It was entertaining. What are you asking?
Who do we think won the VIP? Who do we think won?
So, shout out David Gillespie. So, the FBI have had the files for at least 15 years. They should have already referred the files to the Attorney General for prosecution if any prosecution was going to happen. And so, again, the question is, has that been done? They should. There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But are you guys claiming that they know that the people who can make these investigations, these arrests, and these cases, they already know all of what's in the files and have decided to not do anything? Is that your position? Because I have a lot more reading to do if that's the case.
It was one. That's consensus. Number one won the VIP.
You're my man.
You are getting Redneck Riviera whiskey. And now, folks, it is time for the most important part of the night.
Yeah.
This is round 3.
I want to show you. Just because they're bullshit.
Round 3 is my topic. And my claim is that Mamdani's warmth of collectivism just killed 16 bums in New York.
Oh, hey, you probably want to watch this debate how Mamdani just froze 16 New Yorkers to death, don't you? That's probably what you thought you were going to get, but you're not, unless you subscribe to Daily Wire Plus. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. So we will move to where was it? The fuck? It was here somewhere. We could do that. That would be fun. Where the fuck did it go? Oh. Okay. Well, slightly different, but I also do want to talk about this. Have you guys heard about Michael Jordan and this little
But
fucking...
also, it's about his personal stake.
What the fuck? Yeah, have you guys heard about Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan, as team
weird,
owner, just won the Daytona 500, and he's getting massive praise across the media. Article after article is saying congratulations.
Okay, so before we get into that, let's focus. Hey, we got Behave. Welcome. Where the fuck my shit just bounced? Where we at? Sorry, hold on. So there's more enough evidence to charge many more people. Still not the question. That's still not addressing what I'm asking. I know that there is evidence there. I'm asking, have people parsed through that to be able to determine what is and is not evidence? The fact that there's CP in there very clearly is evidence. There's plenty of evidence to charge, but who to charge for what? That is what I'm asking. How perfect is the justice system in your eyes or mine? Not very. I mean, best we got, but not very. New York is a spitting image of what democracy looks like. Yikes. There you go. Now pay me, so I'll do push-ups. Speaking of which, we got box again. Thank you for the big 20. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for the Overlord. Said, because the files were already made by the cops and DAs who were looking for crimes, then redacted by people. Why would report crimes the government made the files? Why would report crime? Guys, you spent $20, you can't fucking fact check and spell check, because the files were already made by the cops and DAs. So they're made by cops and DAs who were looking for crimes, then redacted by people. Why would they report crimes? Just write it again, bro. I don't know what you're saying. I very much appreciate the 20. You obviously don't have to pay again, but just rewrite this. I have no idea what this says.
Massive praise across the media. Article after article is saying congratulations to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. But there's a video of the celebration.
And that book puts us at $69. Thank you, sir. 69. I got $6. And you got not only an extra treat for Morty, but I've got to do push-ups. Weird how MAGA didn't need proof to storm the Capitol and beat cops with Trump flags, but their famous MAGA common sense tingle doesn't go on when the leader mentioned thousands of them. I was gonna. I don't even care. David said, I believe the FBI and DOJ have refused to prosecute and destroyed any real evidence to cover up all of the implicated politicians and business leaders. Very possible. And so then yes, it was just a yes. So yes, do you think that the files that we have are not like, if I was to take your hard drive and then release all of the files on your hard drive, that's not what we're talking about, is what you're saying. And I'm not fighting you. I'm just trying to understand your position. So when you ask other questions as if I'm fighting you, then it goes into a whole thing. So again, you are saying that whatever is in the files is already known. Yes? Okay, the question is it the Epstein files? Is the drop of the Epstein files just a bunch of files that have been collected and then were dropped? Or was it something that was already parsed through and a new file created, like a new type-up thing? Because those are two very very different situations. I don't trust any celebrity unless Rob Schneider. Shout out to Rob Schneider. I mean, but Michael Jordan. Oh, Michael Jordan.
Praise across the media. Article after article is saying congratulations to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. But there's a video of the celebration where he grabs a little boy's butt and then starts stroking the little boy's legs. So a lot of people are actually saying, yo, what is going on with this clip? And why did Michael Jordan touch this child in an inappropriate way? I do think it's kind of weird. And my immediate reaction to this was, it is Epstein all the way down, isn't it? I saw this funny comedian who said something like, we have to be careful about the chemicals in our water and the microplastics because our children are eating those and billionaires eat them.
I have a strong feeling that Michael Jackson was just like they just threw him under the bus.
You know, whatever. You get the joke. Is it really Michael Jordan doing something untoward? Well, my friends, liberals are chiming in and saying, guys, don't turn something, I shouldn't say every liberal, but there are some liberal personalities saying, don't turn every single moment into something sexual. That's on you, not on MJ. And there's questions as to what he was doing. Well, apparently the kid is wet. Maybe some are suggesting that when they won, they splashed the cooler on all these people. And Michael Jordan was just trying to pull the ice out or something. Doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know how you justify it. And I want to just say, keep your hands off kids.
Keep your hands off kids. So yeah, Skid is saying files are a collage of everything with no context. They have not produced any work product in investigation conclusions. That is my understanding. That it's not that the information isn't there. It's that it has to be parsed through. That's my understanding. And I could be wrong. That's why I'm asking these questions, because if I'm wrong, I don't want to sound stupid and say the wrong thing. But it doesn't make sense to me that there's no reports on anything from ever. And then the files are dropped, because then people are going to be expecting. The more time it goes on, everybody's going to be like, well, hey, what's in the files? What's going on? What's going on? And then as individual, just individual normal people are going through it, and they'll be like, hey, this guy said that and that, the torture video, the sulfuric acid. So it makes a lot more sense if that hasn't been done versus if it has.
Sense to me. I don't know how you justify it. And I want to just say, keep your hands off kids. So, MJ, I'm going to play the video for you guys. It's going massively viral. A couple different versions of it, of course. But here's the clip in question. And you can see, I don't think there's any audio on this one. You can see MJ is grabbing the kid's butt and then rubbing his legs. I don't understand for what reason he's doing that. I'm sorry. I just got to say, there's the clip. I don't know why he's doing it. To me, it's kind of weird.
Weird. So I put up a poll, guys. Michael Jordan was gross here. What do you think?
Yo, I'm going to tell you this right now, though. We still don't have audio on any of these clips. I thought there was audio on these clips, but whatever. I don't quite understand what the point of this is. Let me play. You guys can.
Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. Yes, I do believe that between Bongino, Patel, they know what's in there. They know what's in there. But that's why it was so shifty when they went on TV to say, "Oh, there's nothing here." If everybody already knew what was in the files, then there would be no point in going on TV and saying there's nothing in there. Because then everybody would know, hey, you're lying. And so if you're saying, okay, the DOJ specifically is not going through this, or they know it's in it and they're not prosecuting. Yeah, of course. That was the whole issue in the first place. But it sounds to me like some of you are saying that no, everybody already knows what, who's connected to what and who said what and all that stuff, and have just decided not to do anything about it. That doesn't make sense to me. I think it's going to take a lot of time for people to call into their representatives and be like, hey, if you don't bring this up, you're out of office. So, hey, call your local politicians. Well, I don't know about this, man. This is fucking weird.
I don't quite understand what the point of this is. Let me play. You guys can try and tell me what you think Michael Jordan is actually trying to do here. He's like pinching the boy's butt. He's not. Yeah,
Why would you do that?
I'm sorry. I'm going to read this from Brian Krasenstein. Okay, it says.
We'll get there. David said, "I always thought that Michael Jackson, not Michael Jordan here, was so sad. Either he was an abused kid who never had a childhood and abused kids and died, or he was falsely accused and smeared for years and died after having that abusive childhood." Yeah, I agree. What was it? I think HBO did a posthumous documentary with some of the so-called the alleged victims, and like it was just a weird thing. It was just very a lot of detail about what supposedly Michael Jackson did, and like it wasn't any. It was almost like smut, like somebody who's in the Epstein Files would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm loving this story." It was I turned it off, but it just very weird for it to come out after he died, and yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah, I mean it does. Do we have any kind of explanation?
People have tried and sexualize everything. Now I'm gonna agree with him on this, okay, but not on this clip, on the specifics. He says the kid is wet and probably has ice down his shirt after the celebration. Stop trying to pretend that Michael Jordan sexually assaulted a kid on national TV. It says more about you than him.
Does it though? I don't know, man. That's fucking weird. That even if you don't think it's specifically something sexual, to be like, hey, yo, that's weird, is absolutely normal. And to look at that and be like, nope, I don't see anything here. That is weird.
Okay. I agree with him on the sexualizing everything to a certain degree. We saw Target doing like tuck-friendly bathing suits. Like, what are you doing? Selling this is ridiculous. It's gross. And you've got Drag Queen Story Hour. There is this desperate attempt that we see on the left to introduce sexual ideas to children. Notably, the Don't Say Straight bill in Florida. You guys remember the Don't Say Straight bill?
Don't Say Straight bill.
There was a bill that tried passing in Florida that would prohibit a married man, a heterosexual.
What was the legs then? What was the legs though? We'll watch it. I'm going to star these. If you guys have ideas of maybe, let's try to both sides of this and try to come up with a rational, charitable example of what could have possibly happened. And we'll go back and look and see if that fits. I don't know.
There was a bill that tried passing in Florida that would prohibit a married man, a heterosexual man, from explaining to children his heterosexual marriage.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. For the liberals to be like, oh, why are you always talking about sex? Like, what? You're the one. You're the one that's sexualizing everything. If I'm seeing it everywhere because you're putting it out there, where I see it, if I see it where it's not there, that's still on you.
Now, of course, you may be saying, what? When did that happen? Well, the left called it Don't Say Gay. They said it was the Don't Say Gay bill. And then there's this video where they're like marching in the hallway, don't say gay, which is the weirdest fake garbage because the bill in general just said adults should not be having sexual discussions with children, period. It didn't specifically say gay. It actually said teachers don't talk about sexual relationships with third grade and below. After third grade, fourth and up, we'll need consent from parents if you're going to be discussing, marriage and sex and kids and all that stuff.
All right, let's run this back. So we had David said just trying to get ice out of the kid's clothes, and he just said just a dude helping another dude get ice out of his shirt or pants. But Mimo said he was stroking that boy's legs, like Biden said those boys stoked with his. It was like, what was the line there? The kids in summer they come and the little hairs on my leg.
Come on, man.
Let's look back. Let's look back and see.
On this one, you can see MJ is grabbing the kid's butt and then
does it look like ice,
rubbing his legs. I don't understand
to get ice.
For what reason he's doing that. I'm sorry. I just got to say, there's the clip. I don't know why he's doing it. To me, it's kind of weird. Yo, I'm going to tell you this right now, though.
Let's try again with
tough kids. So, MJ, I'm going to play the video for you guys. It's going massively viral. A couple different versions of it, of course. But here's the clip in question. And you can see, I don't think there's any audio on this one. You can see MJ is grabbing the kid's butt and then rubbing his legs. I don't understand for what reason he's doing that.
Looks too weird. Looks too weird for me to want to make any kind of defense of that. I'm not trying to say I know what happened there. So I'm gonna throw my hands up and say I don't know what happened, but I would like an explanation. Maybe you got caught in a weird moment and it looks like looks bad, but it's something completely different. Well, okay, I'm willing to accept that at this point. But I need to hear that from you. I need to hear what that is. And fine, I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that. He was not stroking his legs, homeboy.
I'm sorry. I just gotta say, there's the clip. I don't know
what is that.
Why he's doing it.
What is that? What is that? That looks like hand on leg. Am I stupid? Or is that not what legs are? Or is that not a hand? What does the back of his shirt have to do with anything? That's why I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing. That's what is, priming us to see something weird here. Pre-verted. Looks funny. I don't know if I like the word funny there. He probably should have thought about the optics, but he's clearly not groping the kid. He's helping the kid. How do you know that? Helping the kid with what? Again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not with Minmo saying that I claim to know what's happening here. I'm remaining agnostic, but it doesn't look like that. And where's the ice? Where's the ice then?
And then see, I don't think there's any audio on this one. You can see MJ is grabbing the kid's butt and then rubbing his legs. I don't understand.
I don't see any ice. And you tell me to pause when there's ice.
For what reason he's doing that? I'm sorry. I just gotta say, there's the clip. I don't know why he's doing it.
Maybe we'll slow it down. We'll slow it down.
I'm sorry. I just gotta say, there's the clip. I don't know why he's doing it. To me, it's kind of weird. Yo, I'm gonna tell you this. For what reason he's doing that? I'm sorry. I just gotta say.
I don't see any ice, bro.
There's the clip.
Okay, so this keeps coming up. His back of his shirt is wet as hell because of the water bucket or whatever you get tossed on the crowd. Okay, bucket had ice in it. Okay. And then... I'm saying, what ice? Why did he stop then? Why did he... If he felt ice here, then we should have seen it fall, or he wouldn't have moved to the leg. Where are you getting ice from?
Grabbing the kid's butt.
And so, right, yeah, right. Let's go.
And you can see, I don't think there's any audio on this
so
one.
He's going, okay, so let's say he's going for the ice. Okay, going for ice, didn't get it.
Jay is grabbing the kid's
no
butt.
Ice, no ice, fell from here. And if it did, then why is he going for the legs? If it didn't, then why is he going for the legs? Bro, this isn't 4K. What are you talking about? I don't know, man. That is some weird shit. Weird shit. I very clearly am looking at the video, slowing it down, going frame by frame. I don't know what you want from me. You want it slower? We'll do it slower.
And you can see, I don't think there's any audio on this one. You can see MJ is grabbing the kid's butt.
Okay, so let's say right there some ice fell. Let's say that. Let's say it, just for the sake of argument. Let's say that he was doing that and then the ice fell. Then what the fuck is this? What is that?
And
what is that?
Rubbing his legs.
Fine, I'll give it to you. Let's just say that there was ice in the kid's shirt. Why is he touching his legs? That's all we're saying. That's all that's being said. That's all that's being said, at least by me. That's all that's being said. It's weird. Minmo said Michael Jordan is in the fucking files. Do not get it twisted. I mean, let's not pretend that would be more crazy than anything else we've seen. But yeah, we had a Joe Biden that definitely well, you know. And so yeah, I mean, the point is it's a perfect example of where we need to have the nuance of, hey, this looks bad. It could be bad. Let's not jump to conclusions, but let's also take it seriously. All of those things are relevant to each aspect of all of this. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. I mean, it does look like that, but I mean, the shirt goes over the butt. I don't know. That's how it works. Oh yeah, who? Ashley Biden was accosted by Trump. And what did you say? Unaliving little kids. Which little kids are we talking about? James said the kid's shirt is soaked. He's probably wiping the shit off. I agree with the second part, but what the shirt is wet on the top. Why is he going back here? And then what is with the leg? What is with the leg? I'm not jumping to, oh, he's a pedo. I'm jumping to, hey, that was weird, and we deserve an explanation. Is that not fair? I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Oh my goodness. What do we got here? So, well, and on most Mark, the man of steel himself. So if that child didn't know or have influence who MJ is, that would be an issue. I mean, either way, it's an issue. But yeah, agreed. There you go. There you go. Asking questions. That's what we need to do. Why need facts, logic, and evidence when you're a Democrat? You don't. You don't. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Oh, you say, oh, if that were your son, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That kid's father deserves an explanation. Maybe you got one, but now it's on TV. I mean, TV. Now it's gone viral. So you're in the limelight now, brother. You're in the limelight now. We need an answer. So I don't know. Put whether you think that Michael Jordan is a pedo in the comments, not the chat, in the comment section of this video. A big shout out to all of the donations. We had Nexus Abyss starting us off. We had our boy Midmost Mark with the $2 make you holla. And then, of course, our sponsor of the stream. Oh my goodness. Again. And more. And more. And more. Lucky for me, we are $6 short of the goal, so no push-ups for me. So I'm gonna take your money and run. But seriously, guys, thank you so very, very much for hanging out. I know that you could be doing anything in the world, and yet you decided to spend your time here with me and Morty, aka the Overlord, and I really do appreciate it. I know that we don't always agree on things, but that's kind of the fucking point. The point is that we should be able to talk to each other, even if we don't all think exactly the same thing. When you need to think exactly the same thing in order to talk to somebody, then conversation is dead. And when conversation dies, so does society. So if you like society, conversation is good, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. Oh, man. Oh, man. First, a treat for the super chat. And of course, now that we have hit the goal, I really didn't want to do the fucking push-ups. But let's get Morty his special treat. Thank you so very, very much.
Shadows gather where the truth once stood. A kingdom of confusion
I can't get him and me doing push-ups at the same time. Thank you. But it is time for push-ups. So where are we at?
I'm here to resurrect the second coming of God.
We should be getting that video shortly. 75 out of 75. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. So let's do it. Guys, you've paid me. Now it is time to pay yourself. Oh, we got to do the, wait. 70, I'm stupid. 37 push-ups. If you can't do 37 push-ups, then do 30. If you can't do 30, do 20. If you can't do 20, do 10. Guys, you paid me. Now it is time to pay yourself. All right, let me open the vertical thing here. There we go. All right, here we go. 37. This is light work. Let's go. All right, pay yourselves. Let's go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 1 for good luck. Let's go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we pay ourselves. Thank you so very, very much, guys. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Were you guys talking shit? Were you guys being, what's the word I'm looking for? What is going on? Encouraging. There we go. Stupid. Encouraging. Let's see. People indeed have lost their minds. Getting those scrawny arms in shape. Let's go. Thanks to you. And Morty is still enjoying his extra special treat there. Yeah. Sam said you cannot even make an innocent compliment without being taken as creepy. Yep. And then they also get mad at you for not talking to them. You can't win. Trump, what happened? I'm gonna assume that's something else. Dr. Evo Genius. Gotta make him proud, right? Gotta make him proud. Thank you. There you go. Getting in that work. Hey. I mean, if y'all drop the fucking, if we make it to $200, that's 100 push-ups. So, bet I won't all the goddamn day. You collectively drop 200. That's 100 push-ups for this scrawny little bitch. So that is the goal. That is the goal, baby. Hell yeah. Does it look weird from the outside? Sure, but how does it look to help a kid get ice out of his waistband or shorts? And If they were bike shorts, you would have pulled the bottom up from the leg. Maybe that's why you don't help kids with things that are in their pants. Maybe that's a dad job. I don't know, man. I don't know. But guys, thank you so very, very much. Again, I know there's a bajillion million things you could be doing, but hanging out with us, that really means the world to me. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. And again, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes whenever I feel like it, I was live for a few minutes last night on someone else's channel, and then we did a Sunday night roll-up stream. So make sure you know that YouTube sucks with those notifications, so you may as well hit the bell so you never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Guys, thank you again so very much. A big shout out to the donations, and as always, a special shout out to all of the disciples. If you are a member, I will see you over in the after party. Thank you so very much once again. That is the Overlord Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.